Indeed they are. Without Chris, of course. Chris actually just touching down in Baton Rouge. Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Scraby here with you. I'm going to be in and out today. I have a night game today. Got to get over to hear Mr. Mike Schilt speak. But the NCAA tournament has begun. Scraby, how's your brackets looking right about now, bro?
Well, it doesn't help that the first game that I picked was wrong. So I picked Louisville over Creighton. Louisville! And it didn't work out for me. Now, I had our boss, Michael, come into the studio before the show and go, "Do you see who's leading the top of the brackets?" And I'm like, "I'm guessing it's you, Michael." And he said that he's up there. He's tied with everyone for first place right now. He has Auburn winning it all. So Auburn right now up 21 points on Alabama State. But there are a lot of people with perfect brackets so far. Not mine.
You know, that's the problem with having multiple brackets. It's hard to like sustain whatever you picked, right? Because you're thinking, oh, I picked the last one and the last one. Do I want to stay with that pick? Okay, I'll check. And so it ends up just being kind of all, tough to figure out where you're at. I know mine's isn't perfect for sure.
No, but the game so far, I mean, I don't think the only game so far that's really a surprise is McNeese State is up 47-29 over Clemson in the second half.
They're putting them on them boys from South Carolina over there.
Do you know where McNeese State is?
Tennessee?
I think it is Tennessee. Michael asked me that, and I said I had no clue because I picked McNeese State. He was like, "Well, where are they from?" I said, "No clue." This is why March Madness is great. You don't have to know where these schools are.
You don't. You don't. You could pick from their mascot. You could pick from their colors. It's really up to you how you decide to kind of make your picks. Nobody is educated enough unless you are a NCAA basketball analyst to really know all these teams, and even in that case, you probably don't know all of the teams. But yeah, off to a fun start here today.
Definitely. Are you itching to get home or what?
Yes, can't wait.
I mean, you've been out there forever.
I'm just ready to get into like the real hustle and bustle, right? You're home for a week, gone for a week and a half, home for a week and a half, gone for a week, gone for 3 days. Things like I've wrapped my mind around it. I'm ready to get to it.
Yeah,
I'm
ready for this opening day, man. I'm ready.
I'm not really ready for opening day.
Really?
I'm not gonna lie. No, opening day is so hectic and so stressful. Right. Some of the like little things I'm thinking about during spring, I get like 2 reads per game. I get like 1 in the third, 1 in the fifth.
Hold on. Dave Marcus doesn't give it to you digitally. It comes on a cardboard piece of paper.
It comes on some paper that looks like it's been cut by a 5-year-old child.
Yeah, he's got
he doesn't know. He can't cut in straight lines at all. It's like I get paper cuts throughout the year because his papers are his rectangles are so
workman's
jagged.
Comp over there,
man. Tell me about it. But yeah, man, it's I'm like wrapping my mind around going from 2 to maybe 8, 9 reads, which is a good thing. That means people are listening. People want to advertise. So not complaining, but just getting your mind wrapped around that. And we've been kind of circulating the same team, so I've gotten accustomed to the names and the lineups. Atlanta, we haven't seen Atlanta, so I'm going to have to, running through their first 9 and kind of getting all of that. Just like the anxiety that all that newness causes before you settle into it is something I'm definitely been thinking.
I mean, I understand the anxiety. I woke up today thinking it was Friday and we were going to be at Dave & Buster's and Tony was going to be in Surprise, Arizona. And I texted Tony slightly panicked earlier this morning. And I was like, wait, you're not going to be on the show at all? And then I realized that came off as a little bit aggressive. And then Tony was like, it wasn't meant to be aggressive. How do you read that text?
It wasn't.
How do you read that?
Listen, I've the beauty of this relationship is I've known you long enough to know when you're being aggressive, panicked, and I now know, unlike the first maybe 2 years, how to actually respond to it. Like not be offended, not like fight aggression with aggression.
Yeah.
I typically now will wait a few minutes and then I'll text you back something along the lines, just trying to like defuse you or be understanding of where you're coming from.
And this is
whereas
why
before I used to just fly off the handle back, and then
we're both yelling at each other over text, and then I'm sending the bleep emoji, and you're sending the bleep emoji. No, it's never gotten to that point. But that's why our show has worked for so long between the three of us, is because we know each other. And yeah, I saw Tony's little dots on the bottom typing and then stopping. And that's what actually indicated to me that you read it as a slightly maybe aggressive text. Because when you do the type, stop, type, I know that you're thinking about your response.
We'll see. You again, it works both ways. You now know
me
as well as when we're kind of going back and forth. Nonetheless, we got to figure it out. Michael Flick's is going to stop by today, 5:40.
Yeah.
They have the big showcase. He's kind of talked to us a little bit about it last couple of times we had him on, but it's this Saturday, so he'll be on later to kind of talk about this showcase. San Diego High School Hoopers. Go ahead.
Is that his thing, or is he? I was trying to.
He has helped put it on. I don't know if it's
so he's a part
him.
of it, but yeah, okay.
Yes. So,
awesome.
And look, he may have very well been doing. I mean, I know this is like the third or fourth annual one they've done, and so. It gives a chance for some of the high school talent that you know and that some of you don't know, a chance to kind of showcase themselves to San Diego, get a chance to go watch some high school hoops.
Yeah, looking forward to having Michael Flicks back in. You took a breath.
I did. What time is Chris coming back today?
Well,
or what time will he be in the?
Here's the fight that we had yesterday, because Chris, and we've talked about this many times on the show leading up until this point, but Chris likes to give out a time that is highly it's just not reachable. He can't do it.
Right. He should by now he should know just to say, you know what, as soon as I get there, I'll dial in. I don't know what time it's gonna be, but I'll shoot you guys because he does give us a time, and I think maybe once he's been accurate. Every other time sometimes he doesn't even make the show after telling us he'd be on at like 4:00.
Yeah, and he'll be like, "Oh, guys, I'm stuck in a Jersey Mike's right now, eating with the team," and I can feel his pain through the phone because his texting is very apparent when he's angry too. Because if he doesn't say many things, he's just trying to stay out of the way. He's like, I'm not going to do anything. But I believe he's going to be here around 3:30 or 4. His plane actually got in early. So that's a
hey,
thing.
This is what happens when you fly charter.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? You get a charter flight, things land on time. You get there maybe a little bit earlier than you were expecting.
Yeah.
That is one of the perks. Girls talked about it in yesterday's show that they're getting to fly charter to Baton Rouge.
It was a Boeing 737-800. One of the.
Oh, you looked this up, huh?
Well, yes, I tracked his flight. Okay,
you tracked his flight.
I did. It was
You're
the
such
only
a stalker.
It was the only direct flight from San Diego to Baton Rouge. So most of the time, those chartered flights are the only flight from San Diego to that destination. I'm excited for Chris, though. I'm very excited for Chris.
I am too. I mean, Chris has been, he has been a part of this program, for a while. He's been doing these games for a while. We've been through him when he's been frustrated because, believe it or not, and I know most of our listeners will believe this. He takes those losses very hard. He might as well be on the court some of the times. So through those first couple of years when it was rocky, he would be in a salty mood the next day after those games. And to now see this team start to have the success over the last couple of years, they get to a tournament this year. I'm happy for him because I know that, he is wearing he has been wearing the wins and losses on his sleeve for a long time.
Yeah. I also, when Chris tells me and you believe him. He says, oh, the women on the team love me. They love being around me. And I'm like, I don't know about that, Chris, but
we got an update.
What
for you real quick. And it's funny is later on in the show, you get a chance to, hear what our predictions are going to be for the roster.
Ooh.
One of those is already coming to fruition. There should be no more questions about Gavin Sheets. The Padres have selected his contract. He is now on the 40-man roster. That's basically a green light sign for Gavin. They have put Joe Musgrove on the 60-day IL in order to make room. So his spring was so impressive. They didn't even wait. They went ahead and moved Joe. We knew Joe was going to be on the 60-day IL.
Yeah, that's not surprising at all.
Anyway, that's not surprising. But it's not often that they make the move this quick. I think it speaks to how well he has played, and the work that he's put in right now was enough to prove that he deserved a roster spot.
Absolutely. When you guys talked to him earlier in the week, like, I was really impressed by his mindset. Being the son of a former major leaguer, you guys have a similar mindset. You wanted to prove yourselves, and that is huge. When someone wants to prove themselves and someone is willing to go the lengths to do that, you can tell that they are a hard worker, they're a good teammate, they're everything that you want on your team.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it is a, what's the word I'm looking for? It is definitely a positive to have a dad or someone as a big leaguer where you've been able to kind of, there's no surprises for Gavin. Like, I mean, he's been in the league for a while, but even before that, he has no surprises. Everything he knew was coming. Just a matter of going through it sometimes. And I'm happy for him. He's had a great spring, and looks like he'll be on that roster moving forward. Now, this is not the 26 man. This is the 40. But remember, he was a non-roster invitee to spring training. He did not get a big league deal. So the fact that they're moving it really signals that he's going to be on that roster. All right, let's step away. I have to head to the field. Scraby's going to take over. I'm going to come back.
Yep.
At like 4:00 to hop on for a little bit longer. Chris is going to join us a little bit. Scraby's going to hold it down. More Gwynn and Chris on the other side.
Are you the San Diego Padres' biggest fan?
These things, it even tells you, hey, there's a canyon over here. Don't
a 10-year term life policy for 30.
secret. Our doctor-developed, easy-to-follow weight loss program helps you lose weight fast, naturally and safely, with no drugs or injections. No prepackaged meals, bars, shakes, or exercising required. Our program helps reset your metabolism so you can lose weight quickly and keep the weight off for good, with an easy-to-follow maintenance plan that includes ongoing personal support. And our program costs half as much and works up to twice as fast.
As we will say many times throughout the show today, Tony, it's 1 week until opening day. I am very excited. I think everybody's very excited. You're very excited to come home from Arizona and actually like get to see your family, you know, sleep in your own bed.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought when you came on, you said I thought you were about to say, as we proceed to give you what you need.
Oh, that would have been great.
I thought that's what you were about to say.
I need to use that one of these times because that would be amazing. That really would.
I'm sorry. I digress. You were saying.
It's okay. I was just saying that I think you're probably ready to come back and sleep in your own bed, see your family. Yes. The players are probably ready to come back and see their families and sleep in their own bed. But we still have a week to go. So I think I have a couple questions for you, Tony, on the roster. How much of it a week out is still undecided for management? Or do you think like one of these guys could have a hot stretch over the final games of spring training and put themselves onto the roster?
Okay, well, do you have a pen and paper in front of you?
Yes.
Okay, let's go over this. Let's pick the locks, right?
Ooh.
And then we can see where everyone else is.
Okay.
Let's start with the infielders because I think that's probably the easiest group to run off who's on for sure.
Yes.
Right? Arise.
Mm-hmm.
Bogarts.
Mm-hmm.
Cronenworth.
After everyone.
Machado. You threw me off. I was waiting for it.
Mm-hmm.
Machado. We'll stop there. That's 4, right?
Yep.
Let's go to some pitching.
Okay.
That's also, I think, pretty easy. Adam.
Yep.
Cease.
Mm-hmm.
You got Cease?
Yes, I got Cease.
Darvish.
Mm-hmm.
Estrada.
Okay. That changed it up. King.
Matsui.
Morejon.
Peralta. Pavetta.
Nick Pavetta.
Suarez.
Suarez. I don't know why you said it like that, but okay.
Well, I don't know why you said that was his name. Suarez.
I heard an A. I heard Suarez. Anyway, go ahead.
There you go.
There, we got it. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
We got 12 spots remaining.
Okay, so outfield, we got Jason Hayward.
Merrill. Toddy.
Yeah.
So that's
4, I forgot the math.
17.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17.
17. We got 9 spots remaining.
Okay.
How many pitchers do we have?
We have 1, 2, 3,
How many
4,
starters?
5. Oh, starters. We got Cease, 1.
4 starters.
Ooh, is Darvish going to be on the...
That's
okay, we'll come back to him.
We'll come back to him.
So we got
Let's
Cease.
assume.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's assume he's going to miss the first time through the rotation.
All right, so we're taking him off.
Wait, so if they put him on, right, it's 10 days.
Yeah. Oh, 15
Yeah,
for
so
a
that might-
pitcher.
No, is it 15 for a pitcher? It is 15 for a pitcher, huh?
I think so.
So maybe they don't put him on because that means, I mean, there's no rush to get him back, if we're being honest. Like,
Yeah.
they're not going to rush Darvish. So let's assume he starts on.
Okay.
Right?
Yep. We'll
So
see
that's a spot. So let's say it's Vasquez.
Okay.
Waldron's dealing with the side, so we're going to put him aside, and we'll say Kolek right now.
Pollock. Okay.
There's your 5. We'll say that for now.
Okay. Now we need
Bullpen.
bullpen.
So we got 5 starters. Who's in the bullpen? We got
Jason Adam, Estrada,
Mhm.
Matsui, Morejon, Peralta,
Yep.
and Suarez.
That's 6 right there. Hoeing is likely going to start on the IL. We
Yeah.
haven't seen or heard from him.
Do we like Kyle Hart for any role?
Yes, I think you may have to. He could make it as a long man.
Okay.
For now.
Yeah. All right,
So
he's on.
let's put him there. Reynolds is going to open up on the IL most likely. How many bullpen guys is that right now?
Adam, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
7, 5. That's 12.
This is harder than I thought it was going to be. Math involved.
They might go with one more arm early, especially because all the starters aren't going to be built up even when the season gets going. So I don't know, man. What about a guy like Marinaccio? He's thrown the ball pretty well here in camp. Seen him quite a bit.
And I'm reminding people not to look at his stats. Not looking at his stats, okay, people?
Oh, we can look at stats. It's fine.
They're gonna see it.
Alec
They're gonna be like,
Jacob.
well, he's got a high ERA, Tony.
Alec Jacob.
Yeah, Alec
is the
Jacob.
name that could
I like that one.
certainly be in there. All right, so we'll put the pitchers aside. I think Alec Jacob, Marinaccio candidates possibly.
Okay.
And remember, Reynolds hasn't thrown the ball
Mhm.
since we've been out here. Hoeing hasn't thrown. Those are 2 I would have said would have been in the bullpen had they been healthy and thrown. Oh, well, Reynolds especially had he been healthy and thrown there. So we'll put that aside. Catchers, we haven't touched that yet.
We have not.
I think Elias
Okay.
is on there, and my guess is Martin Maldonado.
Wow.
That is my guess.
All right. So that gives us what?
Um,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. 23 if you count Marinaccio and Alex Jacob together.
As one or 2 people?
As one. Because you said
Okay.
either
All
or, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking so.
Okay.
I'm thinking so. So that's 3 spots left.
Yes. So I think we're gonna give one to Sheets, right?
Yep.
Okay.
I think Gavin gets one. That's
Okay.
24. I mean, listen. Your boy Lockridge has played his tail off.
Mm-hmm.
He can play all 3 outfield spots. Gonzalez has also played his tail off. He can play 2 of the 3 outfield spots. Tirso has cooled off a little bit. He got a knock yesterday, though. Looked good in the outfield. I mean, you got those. You got, 2 spots for 3 guys, it sounds like.
Yeah. Yuli Gurriel's also one of the guys.
Oh, forgot about him. So one spot.
Oh, so he's on the roster, you think?
I think he's on the roster. It seems as though he's going to be.
All right, so we got one more spot, and we still have guys like Connor Joe out there.
Oh, bring up Connor. I think Connor's on the team. I don't think we can. I think there it is right there.
That's the roster. So we got
bada bing, bada boom.
Bada
I
bing.
don't know how we let. The only thing about Connor is he has an option.
Yes, and which is
I think he's one of the few, which means the Padres can send him down and not have to pass him through waivers. But again, you got to think about what they gave him. They gave him a major league deal.
Yeah,
that changes things a little bit.
They're not going to mess around with a major league deal. Also, that means that I guess
you're just paying him big league money to be in AAA.
Yeah, which is not cost effective, Tony.
Not ideal, right? So I think there's your team right there.
Does that mean? I mean, that means Eggy Rosario is no longer with the Padres as long as he gets through.
Not
waivers,
necessarily,
right?
He's got to clear through waivers first.
That'd be tough.
Yeah, he's got to clear through waivers. I think I'm not sure what Gonzalez's status is.
He's not out of options. I know that. I think the only two out of options are Eggy and Brett Sullivan.
Yeah, so he'll probably have to pass through waivers, and Eggy will probably have to pass through waivers. That's just a guess. We don't know. We don't know this to be a fact. You just spitballing what it kind of seems like.
Now, real quick before we go to break, is there a guy who can have a hot stretch here over the last four games or so and put themselves on the roster? Like, could Tirso hit 4 home runs in the next four games and get himself on the roster? Or even Eggy Rosario, could he hit 4 home runs and get himself on the roster? Or is that?
That's a great question. Like, is there a 4-game deal that could change?
Yeah,
change the roster. I would think that 4-game would have to coincide with a 4-game of a torpedo somewhere. You know what I'm saying? If someone would have to, like, for whoever that is skyrocketing up, someone else would have to be doing the exact same thing the opposite way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because if the other person is just kind of plugging along, finding ways, and it may not be scorching hot, but they're still getting theirs and they still look good. I don't know that that's going to change. But if someone like does the same thing in the opposite direction, yeah, I think that could happen for sure.
That is why they pay Tony Gwynn Jr. the big bucks, because he comes up with stuff like that. All right, there's our roster. We still have a week to go. I'm sure we'll probably talk about the roster 5 more times before opening day. But when we get back, we have Padres pen pals. We got some pretty happy people. We also got some angry people, and we got a fun question. So stick around. Gwynn and Chris back with you shortly on 97.3 The Fan.
Ben and Woods on the Fan.
What are we doing, guys?
I'm going to see the museum for the first time ever. It's going to be sweet. See my dad's plaque. See where Trevor's plaque is going to be. It's going to be pretty dope.
Chris, I'm going to go to the Hall of Fame for the second time because I went earlier today, but I'm going in to see Tony go into the Hall of Fame. So all the way straight and back left.
Straight back left.
Straight on that back wall.
This one?
Yeah.
How you feeling, Tony?
I don't know how I'm feeling right now, honestly.
Excited?
I'm definitely excited. Hello, Eric. How you doing? Pretty good. Wow.
Just like I told you, next to the famous Barney Dreyfuss and Leslie Wilkinson, whoever they are.
That does look like them.
I know. It's a good shot. They don't do them all that great. That one's good. Really good.
I missed a year. 300. Must have been bad. Huh?
Are you a baseball player?
I used to be. Not anymore, though.
Oh, it's so cool. What team did you play on?
I can give you a long list of them. Brewers, Padres, Dodgers, Phillies, Nationals.
position did you play?
I played outfield. This was my dad. Oh, there's Dick Williams, Goose. I think he'd be pretty happy with his company over here. So.
What are you thinking of seeing it for the first time?
I'm thinking
I'm hot. I'm quite warm right now, but it's cool. I mean, it's what I thought it was going to be. I mean, not too many people can say they have a dad that's enshrined in this place. So I think this is awesome.
What are we doing, guys?
I'm going to see the museum for the first time ever. It's going to be sweet. See my dad's plaque. See where Trevor's plaque is going to be. It's going to be pretty dope.
Chris,
I'm going to go to the Hall of Fame for the second time because I went earlier today, but I'm going in to see Tony go into the Hall of Fame. So all the way straight at the back left.
Straight back left.
Straight around that back wall.
This one?
Yeah.
How you feeling, Tony?
I don't know how I'm feeling right now, honestly.
Excited?
I'm definitely excited. Hello, Eric. How you doing? Pretty good. Wow.
Just like I told you, next to the famous Barney Dreyfus and Leslie Wilkinson, whoever they are.
That does look like them.
I know. It's a good shot. They don't do them all that great. That one's good. Really good.
I missed a year. 300. Must have been bad. Huh?
Are you a baseball player?
I used to be. Not anymore, though.
Oh, that's so cool. What team did you play on?
I can give you a long list of them. Rouge, Padres, Dodgers, Phillies, Nationals.
What position did you play?
I played outfield. This was my dad. Oh, there's Dick Williams, Goose. I think he'd be pretty happy with his company over here. So.
What are you thinking of seeing it for the first time?
I'm thinking
I'm hot. I'm quite warm right now, but it's cool. I mean, it's what I thought it was going to be. I mean, not too many people can say they have a dad that's enshrined in this place. So I think this is awesome.
What are we doing, guys?
I'm going to see the museum for the first time ever. It's going to be sweet. See my dad's plaque. See where Trevor's plaque is going to be. It's going to be pretty dope.
Chris,
I'm going to go to the Hall of Fame for the second.
Back here in the Odyssey Palace, 97.3 The Fan. I'm Matt Scraby. Chris Ello joining us shortly. Tony Gwynn Jr. hearing what Mike Schilt has to say right now at the Peoria Sports Complex. The more I think about the trip earlier this week to Peoria with our show, the more I feel like it never happened. It was just so quick, but it was fast and furious. We got a bunch of different interviews. So if you want to catch up on what we did out there in Peoria, you can go to 973thefansd.com and you could see there's 2 blog posts, day 1 and day 2. Also, you can go to YouTube and search for 97.3 The Fan. I've put up a lot of those interviews on YouTube under the videos section. So if you want to go see all that, make sure you check it out. Now, March Madness. We're going to get the Padres pen pals here shortly. Tony and I did one before the show, and we have some ground to cover in Padres pen pals. We've got a couple exploratory questions. We got a couple of angry questions, and we got one fun question. So we'll get to that in just a second. But March Madness is underway. And, I was kind of yesterday saying, oh, March Madness, it's not that big of a deal. The first, second day, not that big of a deal. Well, guess what I was doing at 9:15 this morning? Walking the dogs with my phone, watching the game. And so I need to stop thinking that I'm not into March Madness. Mainly, I wouldn't be into March Madness if we didn't have the brackets. If we didn't have the brackets, then there's no reason for me to be into March Madness because my college basketball team makes it every now and then. University of San Francisco, they're getting better. They made it a couple years ago. But I was pumped up looking at all this, and I had the bracket for 97.3 The Fan and results shortly. We're actually not going to reveal the results yet, just because there hasn't been enough games played. But right now, we do have an upset brewing, and it's between McNeese and the Clemson Tigers. 126 left in the game there. McNeese up 62-53. There are two games I want to talk about before we get to Padres Pen Pals because of how crazy the scoring discrepancy was. But at halftime in this game between McNeese and Clemson, McNeese was up 31-13. So they had an 18-point lead at halftime. And, this kind of gave me shades of San Diego State from Thursday night. If they had a halftime score, I can't remember exactly what the halftime score was with San Diego State, but 31-13, not great, but I would believe that they could come back. I mean, Clemson scored 40 points in the second half to McNeese's 32 points, but they are 10 points ahead and 109 left to go here in that game. Now, the other game with a huge discrepancy that I want to talk about is one that I walked in the studio and I immediately saw what was on TV, and I walked out of the studio, and I was yelling for Adam because his Georgia Bulldogs, they struggled to get points in this first half. It is 48-27 Gonzaga over Georgia, now an 8 seed versus a 9 seed, so it should be a pretty even game. But with 11:01 left in the first half, Gonzaga had a 30-5 lead. Now, I got to give Georgia a little bit of credit. They have at least turned it on somewhat, 48-27. But that is one of those scores where you look at the TV and you're like, what in the heck? Is that a typo? Because it's so lopsided. But Georgia's been playing all right. I guess, I don't know if they call this in basketball. Do they have prevent defense in basketball when you're up by 25 points with 11 minutes to go in the first half? Just kind of save everyone. But that's the other game that I was looking at. Right now, we also have BYU is beating VCU right now, 56-39, 12 minutes left to go in the second half. And then McNeese, again, another update, 65-56, 45 seconds left. So those are the games that are happening now. Earlier today, Purdue beat High Point, which is bad for me in my bracket, 75-63. Louisville lost to Creighton. Creighton, the 9 seed, takes down Louisville 89-75. Not good for my bracket. Wisconsin beats Montana 85-66. Houston beats Southern Illinois University Edwardsville 48-70. Auburn beat Alabama State 83-63. And that's all the results that we have so far. But a fun slate of games so far in the NCAA tournament. Hope everyone is doing okay with their bracket, or at least better than mine. I made a pick that I think is going to get people mad at me, and I picked UCSD to lose. Now, the reason I picked UCSD to lose isn't because I think that they're going to lose, but I played a little strategy. You get a lot of points for a Cinderella team going far, and if you pick them. But so many people here in San Diego, and especially in our bracket, are going to pick UCSD to win. I went the other way just so I could get those points. So if UCSD wins and they keep going deep in the tournament, it won't matter for me anyway. But if they lose, then it's icing on the cake right there. It'll be good for me. Now, am I putting a jinx on UCSD? I don't think I'm putting a jinx at all. It's like during the baseball season. People tell me that things I tweet and things I say jinx the players, but I wish I had some control over that. I did not jinx UCSD, though. I think that they're going to show up. They're a good team. Like they shouldn't be considered like, oh, this team it's the first time that they're going to make the tournament. No, this is a much better team than that. So we'll see where that goes later. We also have the Padres game on the station tonight. So it's going to be a short Scravy show. It's going to end at 6:30. So the game is going to take over the airwaves at 6:30. And tomorrow, I almost stuttered, or I did stutter. Tomorrow, we got Dave and Buster's all day, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Ben and Woods started all off at 6 a.m. They have a breakfast burrito bar. They have raffles. They have Bloody Marys. They have it all. So if you are around Dave and Buster's in Mission Valley tomorrow from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m., please come in and say hi and enjoy some of the March Madness games with us. All right, with all that out of the way, it is now time for us to get into our segment we call Padres Pen Pals.
It's time to ask the experts, Padres fans.
I was hoping maybe you can bring a little insight into it.
Write us, tweet us, Facebook us, send a carrier pigeon for Chris. He thinks they're cute. Padres Pen Pals begins.
Hurt the pelota big time.
Now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, we are just a week away from opening day, which is insane. It's gone so fast, but I'm very excited that opening day is already here, or almost here. And with our trip out to Peoria, I got some questions from the fans out there about certain things on the roster. So we'll get right into it, Tony. And it will start like this. I understand teams need clubhouse guys, and I understand not every player is on the opening day roster because of how long they've played in the league. Guys like Jason Hayward, Yuli Gurriel, although they seem like they're likable guys, they're pretty much guaranteed on a spot on the roster. Tony, why?
For a number of different reasons. What they provide in the locker room, what they provide on the field. Again, basing your opinion off of what has been done in spring training is a fool's errand. And I don't know why people keep doing it. Like every year we have these conversations about, well, he's not doing as well as this guy has. And okay, well, if we're going off of that, then there should be a bunch of guys who are in the big leagues every year. And they shouldn't have any problems staying there if that is the case. But we all know that not to be true. So they provide a staff generally feels comfortable if their job is going to be on the line with a guy they feel like they know what they're going to get versus a guy that they don't know what they're going to get. And most of the guys that are in this particular situation on the other side in terms of not necessarily being named a name or a guy with a bunch of experience are guys that they don't know. And they're not willing to, most staffs aren't going to be willing to base their jobs off of it. Not to say that anybody's job is based solely off of that, but it's a part of it. And so that's why.
I think Brandon Lockridge said it great when we were talking to him earlier this week. He said, I have 12 at bats was what he said. And he was like, why would they trust a guy with 12 at bats over a guy with, 18 years of experience? And
right.
So
that's not to say that they won't eventually get there, but they certainly aren't going to base it off of 45 at bats in spring training when you're getting a mix of some guys who are in the big league, some guys who are in the minor league, some guys who, it's not really a spot where you can generally just base, the rest of the season off of.
I think I contribute to people thinking that spring training is important. And I also think that I don't give enough credit to the actual people, interpersonal skills that these guys provide to the team. Because when you're out there and you see it, you're like, oh, that's why they're on the team. That's why, because they're helping out this guy or that guy.
Well, not even just that. I mean, by the way, Scrape, you can't take all responsibility for that. There's a bunch of jokers out there doing the same exact thing that you're doing.
Good.
So I won't let you die on the sword alone on that one.
Thank you.
It's just it's you just have to be there, and if you're paying it, and that's the other thing. Most of these guys that we're talking about, Jason Hayward, who was the other one you mentioned?
Yuli Gurriel.
Yuli Gurriel. nobody here in San Diego has been following them consistently to be able to base an opinion off of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, no one was watching them all of last year. You might have saw them every once in a while, but what everybody's doing is they're flipping over the back of the card and they're saying, oh, well, he hit this and this in these situations, and so that means A. And that's just not how it always works.
You're right. All right. Thank you for that submission. Next one. You guys keep saying, and this one kind of is based off of the last one. You guys keep saying spring training doesn't matter, and I do get that. What I don't understand is what the coaching staff is looking for then. You said earlier this week you can't just look at a 0-for-4 day and think that's a bad day. So mostly for you, Tony, what are the coaching staff and front office people looking for, and how specific do they get?
First, the notion that so the idea that it doesn't matter completely isn't, we know that also isn't. Both things can be true, right?
Yes.
You can't base a spring training and take that and be like, okay, this guy should make the team because this is what he did in spring, and so it's going to carry over. But on the flip side, it can be used as competition to see who's going to actually win some spots that are actually available. And so it is important from that standpoint. What was the question? Where the coaches actually looking at specifically?
Yeah, what are they looking at specifically?
Right? They're looking at the types of at-bats. They certainly want to see some production. Some guys they're going to need to see less production from because they have an idea of what they're going to do. Some guys are going to need to see all the production because they don't know, and they're going to need something to convince them otherwise. I just think it's different for each guy. For the most part, right? I mean, certainly Yu Darvish isn't going to have the same expectations as a Steven Kolick when he's stepping on the mound in terms of if he's going to make the team. In terms of what they're looking for, the signal that you're ready, that's a completely different category, I would say. But, yeah, man, it's one of those things where for some guys, spring training is important because you need to go out and prove that, you need to change some minds or move yourself up the board, if you will, in terms of the competition. For some guys, it's really about showing that you're moving well, that you can accept a role, things of that nature. There's a bunch of things that a staff is looking at as they decide to put together a team. The spot on the team that you are holding will, I think, also determine what it is they're looking for from you during spring.
All very good points. I got nothing else. All right, next one. And we're going to have two angry ones, and then we'll get back to a fun one.
We haven't even started the season yet. How are we angry?
Here, I'll tell you why. This team does not have a true DH. And if you think you are going to get a miracle season from some random player, good luck. DH is a masher position, and this team has no mashers. I guess I'm up first. Where are they going to find power?
Write this, Graven?
I did not. Where are they going to find power on a team that doesn't have power? The reason I did not write this is because I don't necessarily think the Padres need a masher at DH. They're built a different way. Every team is built specifically for around what their players can do. And I don't think that they're building this team to have a 40 home run guy hitting DH. So I'll pass it to you with that, Tony. But where are they going to find power on a team that doesn't have power?
Who is on this notion that they don't have power?
The person writing.
Well, clearly, I mean, there was kind of a
rhetorical question.
A rhetorical question there. Nonetheless, home runs. I mean, I just disagree in terms of they don't have any home runs. Machado had 29, Merrill had 24, Toddy had 21, Crony had 17, Bogey had 11. And listen, I think when you have addition, I think Sheets is a candidate to be a designated hitter and certainly be able to put up some home runs. They have power where they need power, is what I'll say. And I think that won't change. I don't think much comes off the board. They lose Jerickson's 24 last year. They use Higgy's 17. but I still think they have enough power. They got a great lineup in this year. So I just disagree with the whole premise of the question and the
sentiment.
PPP. Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. Here's another one of the doomers out there. I'm just going to call them out now. Doomers writing in. Is anyone else worried about Fernando making it through a full season except me? He hasn't played a bunch of games in his career, and I'm wondering if he's going to get more days off this year to manage the load. So, Tony, how many games do you think Fernando will play, if healthy, all year?
Let's see how many he played last year. He played 102 last year, 141 the year before.
By the way, person, that's a lot of games, 141 in this season.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say that. Yeah, 141. He missed 22. Had 130 in 21. I think he gets. I think he gets to about 150.
Okay. You think that is it important to guys to try to make 162, or do they know that they're going to have some days off throughout the year?
I think it depends on the guy. I think some guys are more receptive to days off than others. We know Manny don't like to take days off if he cannot have to do it. They force him. I don't think he's going to fight you over it, but he certainly has made it known that he's not into off days.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think Toddy gets to 150. He might get to more than that.
Yeah. I would love to see him play 162.
I'm not concerned about him not
they're not going to load manage him.
I don't know. I don't think they're going to load manage him.
Okay.
I don't think they can. Honestly, I don't think they can afford to load manage him.
We saw Fernando the other day. He looks like he's in great shape, so I think he's ready to go for the season.
He's always in good shape.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Every time I watch that video I made in the commercial break, when you're interviewing him and he doesn't have a shirt on, I'm so jealous of the Adonis.
You looking at that man's abs, man? What are you doing?
How can you not, Tony? How can you not? They're in your face. All right, final one for Padres Pen Pals. I listened to you guys talk to Dylan Cease earlier in the week, and you talked to him about his no-hitter. It was really fun to see how excited he got about it when you brought it up to him. I listened back. He even said he wanted to do a full podcast on it, Tony. But
he did.
Fun question. If a Padres pitcher throws a no-hitter this year, who's it going to be? I guess I'll go first just to get out of the way.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not going to say Dylan Cease because he already did it. I'm going to say Michael King. Michael King can strike out a bunch of guys. As long as he keeps that pitch count a little bit down. He almost had a no-hitter against the Brewers last year, or he had no-hitter deep in the game. I'm going to go Michael King.
I don't know. It'll be random.
It'll be like some guy filling in.
No hitters are they're so arbitrary.
It's true.
I'll just say I'll say Pavetta. I'll just say.
Ooh, okay. That's a good one too. All right. Well, thanks everyone out there for your Padres Pen Pals submissions. We are going to head to break. When we get back, I believe we're going to go a little bit of Daily Gambit. So stick with us here on 97.3 The Fan. You're going to get Matt Scraby for just a little bit longer here on 97.3 The Fan. Chris is en route to his hotel in Baton Rouge. He is with the Aztecs women's basketball team, and they're going to be playing their first round game against LSU Saturday night, and it's on ESPN. So I believe the game starts at 7:15 p.m. Pacific. And I am going to try and remember to tweet out a link to Chris's play-by-play that you can listen to on YouTube, because that's how I listened to their Mountain West championship over Wyoming. And if you want a hometown guy who's going to be excited about the Aztecs women's team, you're going to want to listen to Chris, because he is very excited about this. And earlier I was telling something about Chris, and then Tony told us about Gavin Sheets, which if you just listen to Padres Pen Pals, and you don't know, Gavin Sheets has been selected to the 40-man roster for the Padres, which doesn't actually guarantee him to be on the opening day roster, but he is on the 40-man roster, which definitely makes it a million times easier for them to put him on the opening day roster. And they moved Joe Musgrove to the 60-day IL. So him being on the 40-man roster, again, doesn't guarantee that he's going to be on the team on opening day, but it does give us a pretty good indication as to what the Padres are thinking about Gavin Sheets. And Gavin Sheets was one of the most impressive interviews that we did earlier this week. We still have the Daily Gambit to go. I have this news story about the Daily Gambit because no one's here to make bets with me, so I'm just going to review the bets we did yesterday. But I have this news story out of Chicago about a man who thought he won a sports bet, but then he didn't win the sports bet. And it's just really another danger of gambling to me, because this is a story that I think is really, really stupid, and it makes me never want to gamble again. But we'll talk about that in just a second. The final between McNeese and Clemson. McNeese ends up beating Clemson 69-67. Now, it was much closer than it should have ever been, because McNeese was up 31-13 after the first half, but Clemson scored 54 points to McNeese's 38 points in the second half. But if you pick Clemson, your bracket is busted. And a lot of people apparently picked Clemson. I picked McNeese for no apparent reason at all, but it's going to work out for me. It's going to work out for me right now, at least. We'll see how it goes going forward. But the Georgia and Gonzaga game is underway in the second half. 15:44 left in that half, or in that game. Gonzaga 58-36. If you didn't listen earlier, Georgia had a completely awful start to the game, and it was with 11:01 left in the first half. Gonzaga was leading Georgia 30-5. So Georgia has done some scoring here in the second half of the first half, and now they're trying to make up the deficit, but it's going to take a lot for them to come back and win this game. Gonzaga 58-36, and BYU on their way to a win in the first round over VCU. BYU leads 70-55. 3:54 left to go in the second quarter there. Now, some of the other games: Auburn beat Alabama State 83-63. Houston beat SIU Edwardsville 78-40. Montana lost to Wisconsin 85-66. Purdue beat High Point, which is not a high point for my bracket, 75-63. And Creighton started everything off this morning with a win over Louisville 89-75. I picked Louisville, so it wouldn't be a bracket if you weren't busted after the first game of the day. That's just how all of that works. We still got the Big Five to go, and coming up in about 15 minutes or so, I'm going to be talking with MLS season pass analyst Giovanni Savarese. We're going to talk about SDFC and how they've started. SDFC has 8 points right now on the table, and in the table. And they are in second place in the Western Conference. So that is, it's definitely a lot higher than I think a lot of people thought it would be. But San Diego right now, 8 points. St. Louis, 8 points. Colorado, 8 points. But San Diego has not lost the game yet. So they are still playing very well. And we'll talk to Giovanni Savarese here in just a little bit. But first, we need to go through all the bets that we did yesterday.
Do you like money?
I think about money a lot.
Do you like money without doing anything?
Duh, winning.
Do you want to make money while watching sports?
I think Washington is immortal luck.
Washington! Woohoo! If you answered yes, this is your segment. Just don't blame us when you lose.
Nothing is ever your fault.
It's your game. Take it.
Gwynn and Chris go through the top bets of the day in The Daily Gambit on 97.3 The Fan.
Daily Gambit is our daily sports betting segment here on Gwynn and Chris. Please, everybody, gamble responsibly. Now, I would like to start with one other thing. And I appreciate everybody who signed up for the bracket or tried to sign up for the bracket. I tried to make it easy. I went back to the drawing board after our whole Survivor Pick'em thing and how we couldn't find the winner because ESPN didn't allow me to message anyone, even though I was the manager of the entire group. Anyway, so I tried to make it a little bit different, and then apparently ESPN's password that I gave him wasn't working. If you signed up, really appreciate you for signing up. If you tried to sign up, really appreciate you trying to sign up. I'm sorry that it wasn't as easy as I hoped for. We'll probably go back to the drawing board again, trying to figure this whole mass bracket thing out, mass interactive gambling type thing. I don't know what to call it, but thank you to everybody who at least tried. All right, Xavier last night minus 2.5 over Texas. Chris and Tony chose Texas. I chose Xavier. Xavier wins 86-80. UCSD women last night 3.5 point favorites over Southern. And we all chose UCSD. Southern ended up winning this one 68-56, so we all lose that one. Suns were 6 point favorites over the Bulls. We all chose the Bulls. Suns won 127-121, so we push on that one. Neither side wins. Now, Lakers and the Nuggets last night, over under a total score of 231 points. We all went under, and we were all correct by just a little bit. The Lakers won this game 120-108, so that's 228 combined points in that one. So under was the winner there. Purdue, they played High Point. As I said, High Point is not, is in my bracket. It didn't make my bracket look good. Purdue, 7.5 point favorite. They won by 12, 75-63. So they win that bet. Or we lose that bet. All of us chose High Point. Houston, all of us chose them in the game against SIU Edwardsville. Houston, a 28.5 point favorite. Houston covered. They ended up winning by 38, 78-40. So we have that one. And the only other one we have right now is Gonzaga and Georgia. Gonzaga coming into the game a 6.5 point favorite. Chris and I chose Georgia. Tony chose the Zags. And right now, the Zags are up by 20, 58-38 with 14:30 left to go in the second half. So if Georgia can make a comeback, that might help a little bit. Oh, they made a 3. They're only down 17 now. So who knows? Maybe Georgia can get back into that game and help everyone out a little bit. Now for this story about betting, I am very concerned about the future of sports betting if this stuff is allowed to continue. The American Gaming Association estimates that there's going to be about $3.1 billion in bets this year. A suburban dad in Chicago, Mark Aiello, he felt ripped off. He felt like $400,000 was taken out of his pocket. And the reason that is because BetMGM voided his bet after the fact. So he was saying that he made a few bets. He's not a big bettor, although he plays 4 $500 bets on rebounds, assists by certain players, and he made a 6-leg parlay. But if you're not a real bettor, then why are you making a 6-leg parlay with big bets like $500? So I don't necessarily believe that he's not a big time betting or gambler, because that's jumping right in. But he had a parlay that it hit for him. He said he looked at his BetMGM app. He said that he thought he won $389,000. He said he was going to put it away for his daughter's future college education. So then he went back to look at the app to see, is this true? And then he looks and he sees that everything was grayed out and his bets had been canceled just minutes before tip-off. And who did this? BetMGM did this. BetMGM canceled it without his knowledge about just minutes before tip-off is what they're saying. So I can't even give you a right time, but minutes before tip-off. And they said when he contacted them to ask them why they took the money out of his account and voided his bet is because they said they have obvious errors. It's an obvious errors clause. So an obvious error of incorrect or inflated odds per the house rule. Now, the CBS News, who picked this up, actually, the CBS News in Chicago actually contacted BetMGM multiple times about this obvious error case because, shocker, this isn't the first one that the person that this has happened to. And CBS News did not get any sort of answer from BetMGM at all. And this has happened not only to this one guy, another guy, and at least 3 people have said that they have submitted their bets in time. They have received the receipt for the bets, and then all of a sudden they are not going to get the money for the bets. So they need some sort of regulatory body. They need some sort of regulatory system to figure this out because it is not how it's supposed to work. This is not how it's supposed to work. You're supposed to be able to trust these people if you're going to give them money, and they can basically do whatever they want. BetMGM is not in the wrong because of the way their terms and services are. So next time you bet, make sure you understand the terms and services. Also, make sure that you understand, what you're getting into and whether or not they can void your bets and all of that. Just be smart, stay ahead of everything, and I think you'll be okay. All right, when we get back, we're going to talk a little bit SDFC. Chris has made it to the hotel, so we'll get him all hooked up. More to come on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 8-5.
All right, back here in studio, Chris Ello setting up everything in his hotel room as we speak. But we're going to talk a little bit of soccer right now, talk a little bit of football right now. And, going forward, we're going to try to have someone on from the MLS season pass, an analyst each week to break down what's going on with SDFC. And this week we are proud and happy to have Giovanni Savarese here on the show with us. He is the MLS Spanish language analyst for Apple TV. Giovanni, thanks so much for joining the show today.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be in your show.
Thank you. And I know that you had like 20 years of playing experience, and it honestly looks like you could still play today. But when you're when you're announcing, do you ever get the itch to go down there and, like, I don't know, do something just to prove to yourself you still have it?
Of course you do. That never goes away from your system. I think the only thing that once you become a coach, then you forget a little bit the playing part. But definitely when you're in the studio, you're looking at the game and you get still sensations about the game, about coaching and all that. But we love the job that we do. We love about announcing and providing information to fans.
I love it. We're talking to Giovanni Savarese from the MLS Season Pass Spanish language analyst. And SDFC, they have 8 points, and they have been impressive, more impressive than I thought to start the season. How impressive for you has the start been for the team? And could a result like what they did against Columbus be an indication of how good this team is?
I think we, from the beginning, we didn't have an idea exactly how SD was going to look like. We heard things about, that we're trying to mirror a little bit Columbus. This is the idea. We heard, those comments. I had the chance to be able to watch one of the games in preseason, and in that match, I was surprised in a good way because I saw a team that had the ideas clear in what they wanted to do and how they wanted to play, and I think it's no surprise how they started the season. A lot of credit to the coach, to the front office. I think they brought the players with that idea, and you can see it on the field. And lately, these past few years, LAFC, San Luis, they have kind of gave us an understanding that even though now you are a new team, you can compete from the beginning. So I'm not surprised about San Diego. Actually, I feel that it is a good thing that they have come into the league the way they have, and they have gotten some good results. And against Columbus specifically, as you mentioned, in some way playing against a team that they mirror, I thought that they looked very good in the second half. I thought that they got a little bit confidence. I thought that San Diego got the bravery in the second half to go at a team that maybe they fear a little bit at the beginning of the first half, and it showed that they can compete even with the best in Major League Soccer. So it is great to see that. It's great for the city of San Diego to have a team that way, and credit, as I said before, to the coaching staff and to the front office, because it looks like that the ideas were clear, and I don't think that they are still at the top. I think this is just the beginning of the process, and I think everybody should be excited about it.
Yeah, I think everybody here in town is very excited about it. We're talking to MLS Spanish language analyst for Apple TV, Giovanni Savarese, right now on 97.3 The Fan. You just talked about the coaching staff and how good of a job they have done. You were both a head coach and a player. You coached for the Portland Timbers, and so you have an idea of what it's like to be in charge of one of these teams. And Mikey Varas had a pretty difficult task of establishing culture to this expansion team. Can you go through a little bit how that is to take the job and then try to build something that reflects your personality?
Yes, I think with that, usually you have two things. One is when you arrive to a club that already exists, that already has a roster, the way I came into Portland. So you have to maybe change some of the the thoughts that you had at the beginning, but not going away too much from it. A little bring the team to that. or start everything from the beginning, from scratch, which I had the fortune to do with New York Cosmos a few years ago, and San Diego did that this season. And as I said, the ideas were clear in the way the team wanted to look like, in the way the coaching staff in the front office envisioned this project. They brought the proper players from overseas, from in within, to build that. And at the beginning, is all what you said. It's about building the culture. It's about guiding the players to understanding the system and the way you want to play. And once you get that, you work game by game to make sure that you make the adjustments. What I think is great is that things have worked out quite quickly for San Diego. I think that has to do with the fact that they brought the right type of players, and I think some players that have a good tactical understanding, that have adapted very well. And then some players that are young as well, like Angel, that have adjusted themselves into the team in a very good way. So I think things are looking very optimistic in the way things are building up in San Diego.
Yeah, we're talking to Giovanni Savarese from the MLS Spanish language analyst for Apple TV. And I'm admittedly not the biggest soccer expert in the world, but the games that I've watched so far with SDFC, it seems like they attack a lot. And I don't know if that is different from other teams or if that's their identity. What are you seeing from them on their offensive side?
No, it's very clear the tactical mind that the team has, or the way they play. They mirror very much Columbus with a few different things. They are a team that play with three in the back. The goalkeeper participate in the build-up. They have two defensive mid that they come and drop in, and all is about trying to play through the middle, dropping a lot of players, making sure that they can bring more of opposition pressure in order to be able to find spaces either behind of the forwards or behind of the midfielders. Sometimes in that build up, they can go direct into having fullbacks go all the way in behind, or even finding forwards in order to build up already, and already beating pressures of line that are a little bit closer to the defensive line. And once they get into good areas, then they have some good pattern plays to be able to get some crosses in, and that's when they have the ball. Sometimes they go a little deeper and they go a little bit more in fast transition into attack. We saw that especially against the Galaxy in the second half. That's how they got the 2 goals, with Dreyer doing very, very well, with Angel in the particular game providing some assists. So it's very clear the way the team is playing, and I think, as I said before, they brought the players that they needed in order to be able to play the way that they're playing. With Godoy in the middle, which I think is doing a phenomenal job in being a leader, and players all around all positions that have a good understanding in what Mikey Varas wants to show in his style of play.
That was a great answer. Thank you for that. I'm going to go back and listen to it a couple times so I can pick up on everything. But final question, Giovanni, you've been around MLS for a very, very long time. You've seen it start, you've seen it grow, and now you're seeing it here. Did you ever imagine it would be 30 teams at some point, or is this kind of how you thought it was going to go when it first started up?
No, we were very excited in 1994, 95, when we were looking into, how this league it was going to look like in 96. We were fortunate enough to participate right away from the first match of MLS and see the direction that the league was taking. At the beginning, it was very exciting. It took a little bit, a way back into more difficult times. But all of us that were at that time in Major League Soccer, when we had 10 teams and 12 and back to 10, we only had, a mindset of, we got to work hard in order to make this league grow. And I think we were fortunate that the right people managed the league, and and there were some brave investors that definitely believe in the direction, but never, always had hope, very big hopes in the league, but never thought that there were going to be 30 teams, never thought that we were going to get into, this level, and that every team, the majority of the team, they have soccer specific stadiums, that the infrastructure of the practice facility is amazing, and that, in order to get into the league, you have to pay a lot of money in order to be one of the because right now the league has grown so much. And I just think that this is just, the beginning of what we're going to see in the future. I think it's going to continue to grow. There's a lot more to come. We saw that there's new rules coming in right now in which teams can buy players from other teams, like Kansas City did, like other teams did, like Cincinnati with Evander. So these are great new rules that are going to make just, the league more competitive. And we're all excited. But definitely, the envision that we had back then surpassed so far, our imagination.
I love it. San Diego's definitely ready for an MLS team, and we appreciate you coming on the air here in San Diego and spending some time with us. Thanks so much, Giovanni.
It's a pleasure and enjoyed. Take care.
You too. That was Giovanni Savarese here from MLS Spanish language analyst for the. I got to get that right. It's MLS Spanish language analyst for Apple TV. There we go. Whew. But Giovanni was great. That was awesome. I learned a lot. I don't know about all of you. I've been really enjoying talking to these guys just because I don't really have anyone I can go to be like my soccer expert. I have baseball experts. I have a guy named Tony Gwynn Jr. and a guy named Crisello that I can't believe I just lumped in Chris with the baseball expert, but I can go to them to ask questions. I don't really have many places I could go for soccer. And so it's been nice to be able to talk with these guys, the MLS season pass analysts, and he specifically is Spanish language. So thank you again to Giovanni Savarese. I can't also say the last name because he said, I always ask before we go on, just so I get it right. And Savarese is how you say it. And I should have spelled it phonetically. Now, these are all things that just come to me as I'm talking. And so I should probably just be quiet and go to break and stop talking about the mistakes that I make. And on the other side, I'm going to try to track down Crisello and see where he's at. And if he's not ready to go, we're going to hear from some of the guys from spring training. We never really got to comment on anything that was said in the interviews from spring training. So a little bit of a fluid show here, but Chris is on his way. Tony is on his way back. We'll be back shortly here with more Gwynn and Chris on 97.3 The Fan.
Ben and Wood.
You should try Spiros for authentic Mediterranean cuisine in Coronado or La Jolla. For takeout or dining options, visit spiroscuisine.com. Matt Scraby with you, Gwynn and Chris, 97.3 The Fan. Kind of an extended, somewhat mixed Scraby show with Gwynn and Chris. I have a Scraby show tonight, but it's going to be a little bit shorter. We're going to have the Padres on the station tonight, so get used to these night games. Unfortunately, that means that Scraby show season is going out of style for a little bit, but I will say this. I'm going to try to do more during the season for the Scrabinators because Scrabinators have demanded more, and I think that they should demand more. It keeps me on my toes. If you want to be a Scrabinator, you don't have to pay any money or you have to sign up anywhere. You just have to listen to the Scraby Show and Gwynn and Chris and the station. And you just have to be a good person. That's all you need. So if you want to be a Scrabinator, there you go. We're going to have a Scrabinator game. I announced that on the Scraby Show a couple weeks ago. We have found the date of the third Scrabinator game, which is where I invite all of you to sign up. And then we go through and we randomly pick people and then they get to come into the Odyssey suite with me for one of those games. And I even went to bat for all of you because I got a lot of suggestions of let's do a night game because I work or I'm a teacher or I'm a parent. And I totally understand that. So this year I said, let's try to at least do one night game. And we got a night game. I will not reveal the date just yet, but it is in the first 2 months of the season and we got a night game. So that is fun stuff. I need to start getting planning for the Scrabinator game number 3. I want to do more cool stuff, get better each and every time. So the Padres are at home to the Rangers tonight, and here's the lineup for the Padres that looks pretty close to what I think we're going to see on opening day, if not identical to what we're going to see on opening day. And it goes like this. Leadoff, Luis Arraez. Batting second, Fernando Tatis Jr. Batting third, Jackson Merrill. Manny Machado cleaning up. Jake Cronenworth hitting fifth. Xander Bogaerts hitting sixth. Gavin Sheets DHing, hitting seventh. Jason Hayward hitting eighth in left field. And then Elias Diaz catching for the Padres hitting ninth. But I'm pretty sure that is one of the... That actually... I would predict to be an opening day lineup right there. You got Chris Sale most likely on the mound, unless they did already announce that Chris Sale is going to be the starter for that game against the Padres. So you got a lefty and Chris Sale on the mound. You're going to have Jason Hayward in there, but Arraez, Tatis, Merrill, Manny Machado, Jake Cronenworth, Xander Bogaerts, Gavin Sheets, Jason Hayward, and Elias Diaz. Now, when we were out there, we talked to Jackson Merrill. And one thing that always surprises me about pro athletes is that they're always much, much taller than you think they are because they're also usually around a bunch of other tall individuals. But Jackson Merrill sat down with us, and I really appreciate Jackson Merrill's perspective on things. And the reason I do appreciate it is because he is someone who he's so young, but he has wisdom. And I really wish I had some sort of wisdom when I was young and 21, 22 years old, because I really could have used it. But the fact that he has this sort of mentality in his second major league season is pretty incredible, because after a season like he had last year, where he overperformed and outperformed everyone's expectations by a lot. 24 home runs, 292 average, 90 RBIs. That is a rookie year that no one saw coming. And that can, for other guys, can go to their head. Hey, I'm actually pretty good. And I'm not saying that other guys aren't working in the offseason, but Jackson Merrill has the mindset that he needs to make the team. Now, in the interview with us, he did say, yes, I know that I am going to be on the team, but I still want that in my head that I don't really have a guaranteed spot, because if I don't have a guaranteed spot, then it drives me towards getting better, and it drives me to play better. So that's the mindset that I think Jackson Merrill is incredible with. And it just tells me, and I keep saying this on the Scraby Show, if you're not familiar, during 6 to 7 p.m. weekdays, it's like this is the reason the Padres held on to him for so long, because he is a guy that gets it, and that's important. So here is Jackson Merrill. Actually, you saw in the lineup, he's hitting between Fernando and Manny at the 3 spot. And so Tony and Chris asked Jackson Merrill about hitting between those two guys.
Yeah, I mean, I've been kind of chill in my work.
I'm sorry about that. That was the wrong one. This is Jackson Merrill actually talking about handling the success. And then after that, we'll get to the Manny and Fernando one. But as I said, Jackson Merrill handles the success very well. How is he going to handle the success going into year 2?
Yeah, I mean, I've been kind of chill in my work. I've been leading up to a season that I know is going to be long. Last year in spring training, it was go, 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 go. Like, get it all in. You got to make it. And now that it's like I kind of have a little bit more comfortability, In my mind, it's not like that. Like, I want to make the team still. But I know in longer terms, I do have some more comfortability. I'm going to be out there every single day in center field. But for me, it's just like, why build on something that was so good when you can just subtly make it better by just playing harder? Like for me, it was like grinding out more ABs that I needed to grind out, not swinging as much. I like how much I swing. Don't get me wrong. I'm a hitter. I'm not a walker. I'm a hitter. But at the same time, taking some walks that could help us individually and then steal a bag, could be better than just rolling one over and putting it down on a ball. So, I don't think there's too many areas where I should really hone it in and really get so much better. I'd rather just continue to grow in my game and let it all flow together, But staying more humble with how I was playing last year is helpful from Manny and Toddy. I got guys that are doing it for the last 10 years, but then also Manny had more home runs than me. He had probably more doubles than me. He was raking too. So it helps when there's people around you doing the same thing. It makes you want to play up to their level as well.
I mean, that answer is one of a veteran, and he's right. It does help when someone who's experiencing success that maybe you didn't expect for them to experience success so early. It does really help that someone doesn't take themselves too seriously, because that can be a cancer in a locker room if someone starts, getting a big head and a big ego and all that. And that's not what Jackson Merrill is at all. And he's the first one to say, Manny's been here for a lot longer than I have. He has more home runs, more doubles. He's raking. And I think that's a really important perspective to have. Also, here is, you know what? I'm going to go to traffic because I cannot get this clip to open. I am being honest with you, but we have some traffic. I'm going to open up this clip. And on the other side, we are going to talk about, Jackson Merrill's going to talk about hitting between Manny and Fernando.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego. From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Mosley Wealth Management. You guys, you think it was raining with all these crashes. What is going on? We got an overturn accident on the La Jolla Village Drive off-ramp, southbound 805, couple vehicles involved. Also, southbound 5 before Genesee, accident being cleared out of the fast lane. Up ahead at Garnett, crash in the center divide. Traveling Rosecrans on ramp to East 8, 2-car collision. We've also got a crash East 8 in the East County Los Coaches off ramp, 2 cars over the right shoulder. Northbound side of the 15 before Claremont Mesa Boulevard, an accident has just been cleared. Further north in the 15 at Mira Mesa Boulevard, car and motorcycle involved in a crash, not showing if lanes are blocked. And seeing some residuals slowing on the coastline northbound 5 toward this earlier accident near Loma Santa Fe. How much do you have for retirement in your tax-deferred accounts? Whether it's $100,000 or several million, you'll pay real taxes when you need it. Go to easemytaxbill.com and find out how much money you really have and how much you may save if you're smart. easemytaxbill.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, back here with you. As you heard Kelly Danick say, Gwynn and Chris, 97.3 The Fan. I'm Matt Scraby. We are going through some of what we talked to Padres about when we were out at spring training, because we did not get to break down any of these things. And Jackson Merrill was with us. He had a lot of great things to say. He also, is in a spot where if you were to tell someone that they were going to be in this spot years and years ago, they would have told you that you're crazy. But he's in a spot where he's hitting between Fernando Tatis Jr. and Manny Machado, and that's like a dream scenario for a lot of people. But Jackson Merrill was asked by Tony and Chris about hitting between those guys and what it means to him.
It's also just exciting. I hit second pretty much my whole minor league career. I hit leadoff for a while, but mainly second. And like knowing you're getting up in that first inning, it's a different mindset. I think when you're like hitting ninth in the order, it was like, I want to get up, but like, that's not on me. It's on these guys to do that. But now knowing that I'm in that spot, I'm getting up. I want the guy in the 9-hole to get up in that same inning. So grinding that first AB, making the pitcher throw some pitches, that's what I really need to start doing more and expanding. But for me, it's just, it's fun. I'm fortunate to be in that 3-hole right now, and I don't want to get out of it. So
you mentioned that twice now. Seeing more pitches, grinding more at bats. How do you toe the line of being Jackson, who didn't necessarily do that last year, and also improving on that element of the game? Where is that line at?
I just feel like I chased a lot of heaters. I feel like I was on the heater, but then I would be so on the heater that I'd see one up and I'd go for it. I did it yesterday too in our game.
Eye candy.
It's just like you see the heater and you're like, heater. Oh, there it is. And it's a ball and you're still swinging. So, for me, I got to start being more on the heater, but able to look middle. I'm looking for the heater middle, not the heater in the middle. That's what I'm looking for. So getting back to that, that's the main goal. And that'll help me walk more, take more pitches, and have better at-bats.
I love that. He's looking for I love that he just calls it a heater. He's looking for the heater down the middle. And a side note, I also love when Tony gets to talk baseball, like in the weeds, hitting baseball or baseball hitting. And when he's in the weeds with that is pretty awesome as well. But Jackson Merrill, we don't have to worry about him. We talked about it earlier in the week. Is there going to be some sort of sophomore slump with him? Obviously, we can't predict that, but I don't think it's going to be a problem. Just by the way his mindset is, just by the way that he carries himself and how he works in the off season. I mean, he's looking like he is in amazing shape. So he has taken this off season very seriously. And he even said, I think it was, when was it? I think it was like maybe at FanFest. He said that he took off like a month after baseball, or the longest he's done in a long time, and then got back into it. So I'm ready for some Jackson Merrill this year. Now, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but Gavin Sheets has been added to the 40-man roster for the Padres, meaning it's much easier for him to then get onto the roster because he's already on the 40-man roster. And Gavin Sheets, we heard from him in spring training, but he was actually talking to Sam Levitt in the clubhouse earlier today after he learned he was going to be on the 40-man roster. And here's what Sam's conversation was with Gavin Sheets.
A pretty solid spring. How would you kind of react to the news that you had your contract selected today?
Yeah, it's exciting. That was obviously the goal I had when I got here, and to get notified by the front office and everything, it feels good. It's the hard work that was put in, and just excited about the opportunity to be here and to have the contract selected.
Have they told you if you'll be on the roster, or is that something that comes later?
I think that's something that'll all come going forward, but no, obviously that was the initial news was just the getting on the 40-man, getting on the roster, and just excited to have that news.
And how exciting is it to kind of be a part of this group, knowing the role that you could fill? And
that's why I came here. That's why I wanted to be here. You look around this clubhouse and you look around what this team has, and the excitement of last year, and obviously what we want to build on. And it feels good to start using the word we, and look at what's ahead, and be a part of this.
When did they tell you?
I was notified this morning when everything was the moves were made and everything. So no, it's exciting.
Who did you share the news with first?
Family, obviously. Family, my wife. Obviously talks to my agent as well, and he notified me with some things, and but yeah, just letting the family know that we're selected and can start getting excited for the season.
What were some of the reactions that you got from your family?
Just excitement. Haven't been in this position the last couple of years. Everything's been, kind of different spring training, coming in to compete for a spot, compete for a job on the team. And so it feels good.
How much have you enjoyed you've talked a little bit about working with the hitting group here and kind of making some tweaks, some changes. Like, what's that process been like for you?
It's been incredible. Obviously just from the results as of late, but just working with these guys and buying into what they were doing from day one. I know even when I was scuffing a little bit at the plate, just buying into what they were doing, knowing that at the end of the day, that's what was going to get me to the next level. And obviously seeing the results on the field is awesome, but I just knew the work we were putting in, and I was buying into what they were teaching. And so it's been fun to see this day come, and just relying on these guys.
You've been going pretty well for a few weeks now, but when you homered off Luis Castillo the other day, pitcher of his caliber, even though it's spring, what did that tell you about where you are?
Yeah, and it was a breaking ball down, which is some of the work that we've been doing. So obviously the other ones have been some high heaters and stuff, and so to get a breaking ball down and just the work that we've been doing behind the scenes on pitches like that, and some of the mechanical changes that we've made to be able to handle those pitches. So that was, regardless of who it was, but to get that pitch and be able to put that swing on it, that was the most rewarding part.
Breaking balls down, were they a focus for you coming into camp?
Yeah, just kind of the mechanical move you had to make to them, staying in the zone, being athletic as a hitter, getting into my legs a little bit more with better posture, and to see it come in that moment with the 2-strike count, that was awesome.
All right, that was Gavin Sheets with the media earlier today. I said it was with Sammy Lev, but Sammy Lev was there. I was not aware we're going to have so many of the other reporters doing things right there, but Gavin Sheets, I think it makes sense for him to make the 40-man roster, or at least be put on the 40-man roster because of what we've seen. And I see a lot of fans also saying that I see a lot of fans saying that Gavin Sheets seems like a good dude, and they're really hoping for him to be good this year. And we'll see. But he certainly, again, attitude says it all. Attitude is what you need. If you have a good attitude, it makes a lot of things easier. Dominic says, why do so many athletes talk in the same cadence? Do they all have to take a class or something? I thought about this for a long time ago. And then I was told by a former professional athlete that the reason sometimes athletes all sound the same is because even though I was born to talk and be on the radio, they were born to hit, and they were born to do whatever they need to do on the baseball field. And so it's not their number one thing that they want to do is do interviews, but that's why they all have the same cadence. I think it is funny as well. I mean, it's most of the time it's a lot of cliche and a lot of maybe, not really giving anything away while saying a lot of words, but I appreciate any athlete who gives us time. And Gavin Sheets gave us time out there in Peoria. Just go to 973thefansd.com. You can see the 2 blog posts up there with all of the different videos. And, you heard Gavin Sheets there being super excited and happy and feeling accomplished. Well, one Padre player, I'm not going to say who it was because I think that's mean, but one Padre player we saw, get released, and we saw the walkout, and it was sad. It was really, really sad to see that because this guy's dream might be over. He's walking away, getting on his phone, probably telling his wife or whoever it is that's close to him that he just lost his job. So with the highs of the job, there are also very low lows. And I saw that go down, and it kind of hit me right in the face. It did when I was watching them walk out because they looked pretty disappointed with the decision to let them go, which, if you believe in yourself, you would be disappointed. All right, that's it for this segment. When we get back, Chris is going to join us here on 97.3 The Fan.
Padres.
guess what? I found one half of Gwynn and Chris. Chris Ello has made it to Baton Rouge, and he is with us here on 97.3 The Fan. Hello, Chris. How was your flight?
The flight was good. Here was the surprise.
Okay.
The drive from the airport, which I assume is Baton Rouge International.
It's actually Baton Rouge Metro Airport.
Okay, thank you. Baton Rouge Metro Airport.
Yes.
Here to the lovely hotel. Bumper to bumper traffic. I thought I was in downtown LA.
What?
I know. It was the most surprising thing I've ever seen. We had three buses
for this trip. I thought maybe I got the note yesterday that we had two buses, but we don't have two. We have three buses. I've been relegated to bus number 3.
Oh, wait, hold on. Before you go any further, because the Kim Villalobos and Megan Fiso, is it Fiso or Fiso?
Fiso. Fiso.
Wrong either way I said it.
Yeah, you got it wrong both ways.
Anyway, they were before we went on the air.
Yeah.
You revealed to them that they were not going to be with you on the bus, and they lost their mind. They were like, "We are going to change this. We're going to go, and we're going to make sure you're on that bus with us." Doesn't sound like they got that done.
They didn't get it done. No, I went. Yeah, because I found out last night or 2 nights ago that I'd be on bus number 2 instead of the team bus because there's so many people on this trip, which is fine. But I did tell Kim and Megan that yesterday, and they were quite upset because I sit across from them normally on the bus. But anyway, not only did they not get me on bus number 1, Scraby, but as I said, I was relegated from 2 all the way down to bus 3. So that shows
you, the level of where I'm at on this trip, but it's okay. The Aztec pep band and cheerleaders, they got bus 2. The players and coaches and family, a lot of family. It's really nice actually of San Diego State. They let a lot of the staff, trainers and team doctors and assistant coaches and stuff brought their families with them on this trip. And I think that's a nice thing for San Diego State to do. You get to this point and let everybody kind of get involved and have some fun with it. So we're here. We're excited. We've taken over the Crown Plaza Hotel here in Baton Rouge. And, we made the trip. So I think ESPN ought to at least increase our odds of winning from 1% at least to 2% since we have arrived in town. We are here.
You are there. You're ready to go. I love it.
Yeah.
And I cannot believe that there was traffic in Baton Rouge.
Either. Yeah, not expecting that.
There's going to be people that are like, "Why, Scraby? Why didn't you expect traffic in Baton Rouge? Is it because you don't like Baton Rouge?"
Yes, we don't like Baton Rouge. That's exactly why we didn't expect traffic.
Yep.
That's the silliest question or point I've ever heard, but you're right. Somebody will make it.
Someone will make it, Chris. Someone will make it.
Yes.
I'm trying to dial up Tony right now.
Okay.
Because he's on, and then we're going to do Chris versus the fans, I think, a little bit later. Just because you just got to the show, we have Tony for a couple more segments. Tony, are you there? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
There we go. How are you doing? Yes, we got it. We're in 3 different locations. We got one person in Peoria. We got one person in San Diego. We got one person in Baton Rouge.
I don't know that you have to. I don't know that you're legally required to pronounce it that way.
I just have to. Isn't Baton Rouge isn't it Red Stick or something?
You mean like for French for red stick?
Yeah, I'm gonna see what Baton Rouge means.
I know I'm pretty sure the Rouge is red, but the Baton I don't know.
Yeah, Red Stick. Red Stick.
Red
French
stick.
for red stick.
There you go.
All right, there you go.
It is the capital city of Louisiana, so let's give it that.
All right, I got a couple things. Scrape, have we already done our list?
Yes.
2026.
Yes.
We didn't even think about my man Jose Iglesias. We didn't even mention him.
Oh, duh.
So that's another.
Oh, you did your 26-man roster today, huh?
We did a construction of a kind of a 26.
Yeah.
But he should be on there. I'm thinking.
I haven't seen him at all in spring training. That's why I keep forgetting about him.
Yeah, I think he should be in there.
Okay.
So this is gonna be.
So if he's in there, then somebody else you put on has to come off.
Right. Right. Yeah. No. Here's the deal. I mean, Mike Shield talked about this a few minutes ago when I was listening to his scrum. He knew the job was difficult before, but he didn't have the knowledge of who had options, who doesn't have options, and so he was kind of brought in on that today. And I think he came away thinking like, wow, this is even tougher than I initially thought it's going to be. You know, the staff is saying this is the best position player competition that they've ever had here in camp. And so there's going to be some tough ones, man. There's going to be some tough ones that, you know, are that are just going to be, you know, tough. I don't know of a better way to.
They're not going to be able to get it. There's only so many spots. You know, it's interesting. The two names.
Can I stop you, Chris, and update you on something real quick before you go forward, just so you know where the Padres are? Gavin Sheets has been put on the 40-man roster, not on like the opening day roster, but he's on the 40-man now.
Now, Schulte wasn't ready to commit to him being a 26, but I mean, listen, if you go from non-roster to all of a sudden they're putting you on a 40-man, all signs are pointing to that you're going to be on that 26. Here's the other thing to keep in mind. I gather, based on what we heard today, Darvish threw today. He still is playing catch. Typically, you get shut down. So I think he's a legitimate question mark. Who I don't think is a legitimate question mark at this point is Waldron. He is in rest mode right now. He is not throwing a baseball right now. So the oblique is enough for him not to be doing any baseball activity. That's not the same for Darvish. So I don't know if we could put those two in the same category. My guess is Waldron's certainly going to start on an IL type situation. That's my guess.
And so you're really looking at if Darvish is part of the opening day rotation, you're still only looking at one open spot. But I believe that there's going to be I believe there's going to be two, because I think that they're going to at least ease it in with Darvish. So I think Kyle Hart and Kolek both have a really good chance to make it. You know,
they both were on ours, and I think you also have to keep in mind that even when the 27th rolls around, and I'm talking about of March, first opening day, these starting pitchers aren't going to be built up to where they need to be yet. So you're going to have long relief regardless of whether you have a 5-man rotation. So my guess is it's probably going to see 13 pitchers, you know. For sure. So
I think it'll be 13 and 13. And that's why, you know, if you include two catchers, I mean, you know, you got to have two catchers.
Right.
So there are 3 spots left out there, you know, and I mean, Connor Joe, Gavin Sheets, Iglesias, Gurriel, Eggy, and I was going to bring this up, guys. The 2 hottest names at the beginning of spring training were Tirso Ornelas and Oscar Gonzalez. They're still around, are they not?
The cold part is Oscar Gonzalez, unlike Tirso, is still hitting. He never actually stopped hitting. He might have had a day or two where he went hitless, but for the most part, he is hit, and he leads his team. He leads the camp in hits. He's up there in average. So there's going to be stuff his now. I do believe Gonzalez has options. So you know, there's that. But this is a robust conversation for sure. I do have something else I want to bring up, and I think it deserves mention, and I think we should be talking about this a lot more as we enter this 2025 season. Manny Machado is headed for some pretty big milestones, and I don't know that we're talking about it nearly enough. And I think, you know, in some ways we may have been spoiled in the 90s getting to some of the things we got, but 2,000 hits is a big number. I can't stress that enough. That's a big deal. 350 homers is a big deal. He is well on his way. I mean, the 350 is going to happen quick. 2,000 is going to happen relatively quick in this season. So, you know, we should be talking about this milestone because this puts Manny. Remember, he got to 1,500 2 years ago. So it took him 2 more years to get to 2,000.
Yeah.
It's going to take him 2 more. So if we're going by that math, he's 4 years away from perhaps getting 4 healthy seasons away from perhaps getting to 3,000. So, I mean, we should all be like paying a lot closer attention to. I talked to Manny about it today because it dawned on me that one of the posts came up today and it irritated me. It was on MLB actually, and they were talking about the milestones of guys who were coming up this year, and Manny was nowhere to be found on it. And so it got me kind of going down a rabbit hole, and I was asking, because I remember how excited my dad was in 93, when he got to 2000. And it
was the same date that he ended up getting 3,000.
Right. It was on my grandmother's birthday. And
crazy.
I brought it up because I wanted to know how he was feeling. Manny is very reserved. He doesn't really let you in like that a lot of times. But he stressed to me that it's a number that he has been paying close attention to. So I just want to put that on everybody's radar, man. 2,000 hits, 350 homers. He's going to do it in a Padre uniform. We all should be blowing this up and getting ready to celebrate it is what we should be doing.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, you got. Oh no, I got my club sandwich, guys.
Oh, okay.
Hate to
Go
interrupt.
ahead and get your club sandwich, dog.
Yeah, let's listen.
Thank you,
guys.
guys.
Wait for you.
Thank you. All right, I'm all set.
Ask
now
them if they want to be on the radio.
No, he's gone.
Oh,
I'm so happy though right now, guys. Now, I mean, I'm settled. Tony, you know this feeling, man. You
Yes,
fly,
I
you
do.
settle in your hotel room. You got everything put away. You got the TV going. You got your show. Now your food arrives. Oh,
Now,
this is
I don't
heaven,
have
guys.
OCD, so I don't necessarily need to put your stuff away part. But getting into the hotel and settling in and getting some food,
Yeah.
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, it's beautiful. But
Yeah, I don't know that
back
my
to-
stuff actually gets put away though.
Can
No,
I
my
see
stuff
the
is-
sandwich? Can I see the sandwich? I want to
Get
see.
out of here,
No, let me
Scraby.
look
You're not
at
gonna
it.
see the sandwich.
Fine.
No. But hey, look, Manny's gonna get. You're right, Tony. His 8th home run will be 350. His 51st RBI will be 1,100.
Yeah.
And then he needs 100 hits for 2,000. So you're right. He's going to do all of it this year. And we're looking at another Padre Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
And we haven't. Who's the last one? Jake. Is Jake in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, he's in there.
Jake Peavy.
I think he's the most recent one.
He's the most recent one. So, and now he's working for the organization. I saw that today come down. So, but yeah, you got Trevor, you got Jake, you got, your dad, Dave Winfield, Randy Jones. I mean, it's not a long list of Hall of Famers that have really been, Padres for most of their career. So it's something
I just thought this ain't something that, I think people are aware of it, but I just feel like there's not enough conversation around it that there should be. And when I saw that on Instagram today, it bothered me a little bit. So I'm gonna put it out at least in our folks' ears so that they can blow it up the way it should be.
Well, here's what you and Jesse ought to really be focusing on, Tony. His first stolen base of the year will be his 100th. So that's a milestone that I'm sure he can't wait to reach.
I think he also mentioned to me. He said, I can't remember the number, but he's close to 20 triples. I thought that was
he's
funny.
got
that he
18.
brought up-
He needs two triples if that's important to him. He needs two triples.
He said my first hit was a triple. I was like, you probably thought you were gonna have a bunch more at that point, huh?
Yeah,
but nonetheless, this dude is honing in on some big time
Some
stuff.
good stuff. And tell him good luck with the triple, Tony. He hasn't had one in 3 years.
It's been a little bit, huh?
He's been a little lax in the triple department. The other thing and you bring Manny up, so I'm going to have to bring it up. 2015 is now 9 seasons ago. And that's the last time he won the Gold Glove. And I know Arenado, we can argue till you're blue in the face, but somebody as amazing as Machado not winning a Gold Glove for 9 years just boggles my mind. It just does. So I'm going to keep pushing him for one of those, at least one more while he's, a Padre, because there's no other player on the team, Tony, that I want to see the ball hit to, as much as Manny, because he's going to do something awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. No,
All right.
Just me. Scraby, Let's go to break so I can start eating the sandwich.
Well, can you show me the sandwich first?
Chris is salivating right now, waiting to bite into this sandwich.
I'm gonna watch this in the break with I'm just gonna be staring at Chris in the camera. All right, we're gonna do
off camera.
Chris versus the fans, I believe, a little bit later. But when we get back, we got traffic and then more from Gwynn and Chris on the other side of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting.
The Odyssey Palace 97.3 The Fan. Here with my guys, Tony Gwynn Jr. and Chris Ello. Tony is going to be calling a game tonight between the Rangers and the Padres at the Peoria Sports Complex. And Chris is going to be calling a game on Saturday night between the Aztecs women's basketball team and LSU. Have you found Kim Mulkey yet, Chris?
No, but the first commercial when I came into my room on the hotel TV was their All-American guard, Flau J. Johnson, trying to sell me some Gatorade. So that was like the first thing I saw when I got in. I mean, this LSU team they have 2 All-Americans. On one team. So it's going to be, it's going to be a great challenge. And I talked to Justin Hudson, Stacy's husband, who everybody knows Justin when he was with the men's team. He's a defensive guru, right? This guy lives and breathes and coaches defense. So I asked him, I said, have you come up with anything, defensively for LSU? And he just looked at me and he said, they're good. That's all he said. So I don't know.
I need you. I'm gonna need you to give me an autograph from the legend. I think that's if you can pull it off. I'm just saying.
For who? Kim Mulkey?
Yeah, Kim Mulkey.
Oh,
wow.
You think you want to do that, Chris? While you're at it, get me an autograph too.
Yeah, no, I'm joking, Chris. I wouldn't put you in firing range like that. It means you might.
Did you hear the fear in his voice? Right now?
I know. I got a little scared there.
He goes,
It did seem like there was some fear. That made me think twice about it. Like,
pretty sure I heard a gulp too. It was
does that mean I have to speak to her? That could be.
It does.
Yeah. No, I'm figuring by the time game time comes around, Tony, she and I will probably be best pals. So. I'll be more than happy if I can do it. We did, by the way, ask Scraby sent down a request to the LSU Media Relations Department about getting her on our show, talk about the game. And what was the response, Scraby?
Oh,
crickets.
Crickets.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Yeah. I mean, look, this is not Kim Mulkey's fault because she doesn't know even that we requested it.
I bet she has no idea we requested it.
Exactly. So you can't blame her. But I just think that's rude. We're playing. San Diego State is coming down there. I know you don't respect San Diego State at all, but we can ask to do an interview with the coach ahead of the game. And you should at least get back and say, hey, we can't make her available, or she's too busy. I just think it's kind of rude of LSU. It's okay. I'm trying to build up a little more. I'm trying to build up a little more hatred for them.
I was about to say she might be kind of busy. She is getting her team ready for her.
I understand somewhat what Chris is saying, but it's pretty common practice nowadays. If you don't want to talk to someone, you're just not going to respond.
You just ghost them.
Because then otherwise you got to come up with like a reason why you don't want to do it.
And then you're lying, most likely.
You're lying now, yeah. So you just don't answer. That's
even if they're like going to be watching TV on the couch, they'll be like, answer. "Oh, I got some flight I got to be on."
Right. That makes you sound worse actually when you start coming up with the excuses. So maybe
I think if I see Kim Mulkey, I know they're having a media day tomorrow for both teams. Media available. Actually, there's 4 teams here because there's another game. I think Florida State's playing somebody in the first game, but. So it's media day tomorrow. I'm hoping, I'll run into Kim Mulkey. My plan is to go right up to her and go, I can't believe you ghosted us here in San Diego when we asked for an interview. And by the way, my partner on my show is Tony Gwynn Jr. Can we get an autograph? I think that's the perfect way to go about it, guys.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
I think if you drop Tony's name, you were definitely getting an autograph, Chris.
That won't hurt.
Yeah, I mean, she might not know who that is. There is a good amount of people that have never heard of that guy. Just so you know.
You know what's sad is that
I know that's hard to believe in San Diego, but it's true. Trust me.
You know what's sad is I went into my mom's classroom. She's got like 4th and 5th graders, and I asked, "You guys know who Tony Gwynn is?" And they said no. And I was like, "Where are your parents? And why are they not teaching you about Padres history?"
Where are your parents?
Wait, 5th grade. What is that? That's not even. Is that like 10?
That's
are
9
they
or 10 years old? Yeah.
No, they're like 11 or 12. Yeah, so they were like 2 when my dad like played his last game. You know what I'm saying?
When was the
So,
last
like,
game? What year?
2001.
Oh, they were.
No, they weren't even. Excuse me.
No,
they weren't even alive.
Yeah, they weren't even close to being alive.
No, the kids that are in 5th grade, their parents were 2 years old when your dad played his last game.
Right.
Look, time
Right.
is going by very quickly, guys. Let me tell you.
It really is.
So.
March Madness, Chris. My bracket is busted. Louisville lost. I did pick McNeese. Now, Tony, McNeese almost coughed up that 20-something point lead.
They hung on, though.
They did hang on. Georgia was down, Chris, at 1 point, 30-5. They ended up losing.
It was. I watched the beginning of that game with Ben Pearson, who's our media relations guy, and I might have mentioned this yesterday. Ben went to Gonzaga, so he is a major crazy fan. So we were watching together, and when Gonzaga got ahead, it was so funny. They got ahead 3-0, and Georgia turned the ball over on the first 2 possessions. I turned to Ben. I said, "This game's over," and he's like, "Yeah, right." And then it was 27-3, so it was kind of over. Quick. Bad performance by Georgia. But you know what? I love when the SEC loses, guys. One of my goals in this tournament is for the SEC to go like 2-12 in the first round. Since, they're supposed to be the greatest thing and nobody can beat them. I don't want them to win.
Well, I guess I'm not really tripping about it as much in basketball because this is kind of a new thing for them in basketball. They weren't regarded like this for a while. So I can live with them having a good year this season, although the Georgia one then doesn't make your confidence look as good as it is top to bottom as it was going into this bad boy.
Yeah, well, that's what you get for letting your 13th place team into the tournament.
As soon as I saw the score when I walked in here, and it was worse than 30-5, I immediately poked my head out and I yelled, "Adam, what happened to your team?" And he came running in and he said, "Man, this is a disaster."
It was disastrous for Georgia, but we got UC San Diego playing tonight at 7 against Michigan. So, good luck to the Tritons. I have to kind of bow my head, and the Aztecs men are out, but I think we got to cheer for these guys. It's their first year ever of eligible at Division I, and I mean to be have qualified for the tournament. And the more you read about this team, Tony, you kind of got to root for them. All of these players were transfers to UCSD from Division II schools. So what does that tell you? It tells you that none of these guys were recruited by a single Division I school to play basketball. And now here they all are in the tournament trying to beat Michigan tonight. I think it's a great story if they're able to pull it off. So I like stuff like that, even if it's not the Aztecs. Got to be an equal opportunity.
I agree.
Unfortunately,
now that my Aztecs are out, I can fully dive into the Titans.
That's right.
And there's no USD, so you don't have to worry about that. Like, would that really put you in a dilemma, Tony, if USD was like the only team left in the tournament?
I don't think it would put him in a dilemma. He wouldn't root for him at all.
Oh my God, my partners know me way too well.
At least Chris
he barely let us interview Connor Joe the other day.
That's true.
Connor's my man, though. He's a Powwegian first. I told you
That's right.
that takes precedent over him being a Torero.
All right.
I like Connor.
We are going to head to break. Other side, Big Five. Tony is going to be back on the radio with all of you around 6:30. Thank you, Tony. And we'll go to break.
Yes,
we'll talk about the Big Five on the other side. 97.3 The Fan.
Ben and Woods on the Fan.
But those dudes with their shirts off, I'm a little envious. I'm not envious enough to actually do it, but I just wish that I could press a button and look like
I've
that.
always felt the same way.
You know?
Envious, but not envious enough to do anything about it.
Have you ever seen something and you go, I have to have
with our station because we're going to be down at Dave and Buster's from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. tomorrow, and I am looking forward to it. Chris is going to join us from Baton Rouge, and I can't say it
by
any other
tomorrow.
way.
You might actually pronounce it without all of the bells and whistles.
I don't know if I'm going to pronounce it, but I will pronounce it.
Did I say pronounce? Yeah, I think
You
I
did say pronounce, but we do have a ton going on tomorrow down at Dave & Buster's in Mission Valley. And I know that the morning show has a breakfast burrito bar. They also have drink specials on mimosas, Bloody Marys, and beer throughout the day, a basketball shooting competition, hourly raffle giveaways. Join us at Dave & Buster's at 2931 Camino del Rio North tomorrow for a full day of fun with your favorite fan talk shows. So
all you have to do is get yourself to the where the 8 freeway and the 805 freeway intersect.
And then just drive off the cliff, and then you'll be in the parking lot.
Jump off the railing there, and Dave & Buster's is right there.
You know, there was a car years ago, I think, that ended up falling onto the falling over the overpass.
I remember that.
Yeah, that was terrifying because every time I go
was.
over that overpass, I get a little nervous. And that
was
car
a little
actually
terrifying.
Had it happen
for sure.
Yeah.
Real quick, there's 3 games right now in the March Madness going on, and all 3 of them are featuring SEC teams. So I'm rooting very hard against I'm trying to follow all 3 games at once. But Tennessee is leading at halftime over Wofford. Good old Wofford.
Where is Wofford?
That's a good question that I don't know the answer
All
to.
right, let me figure it out.
Yeah, I'm going to say North Carolina because a lot of that stuff.
It does seem like that. It does seem like that.
Yeah, 36-27.
South Carolina, you're close.
South Carolina.
Spartansburg.
One of those Carolinas, yeah. Kansas is leading the Sauce, Arkansas, 26-25 first half. And Texas A&M's off to a good start against Yale, 19-9. But so far, Scraby, the mighty SEC is 1-2 in the tournament. So, if you don't have a dog in the fight, then root against the SEC. That's the way to go, I say.
Yeah.
In the tournament.
I agree.
You get 14 teams. You know how many teams are actually in the SEC?
18? I don't know. 16. Okay.
So 14 of the 16 made the tournament.
Which 2 were the teams that didn't?
LSU, by the way, where I am,
Yeah.
right? LSU, their men's team was terrible. And South Carolina, the only 2.
Man, what's wrong
But
with
what's
you
the
guys?
point of even having a league if everyone makes the tournament?
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
It's kind of silly.
It is very silly.
With all due respect to Texas and Oklahoma and Georgia and all these teams that finished 12th, 13th, 14th place. It's, that's silly. Anyway, they don't ask me, Scrabe. They just make the rules and go ahead without me.
They don't ask me.
It would be a much simpler world if you just checked with me first.
Yeah, it would be same with me. If you just want to check it with me too, it would be great.
One of the
I would
2
love
of
it.
us, we'll keep things straight.
Yeah, but the North Carolina guy, his bonus had nothing to do with North Carolina getting into the tournament.
$1 million. I think Ziegler said it was $670,000.
It's less, yeah.
But anyway, it was still a lot. $750,000, for his team to make the tournament. And then they kept showing him the other night sitting on the sidelines during the Aztec game. And I must say he looked very satisfied over there with all the money that he just made.
Yeah, he did look really satisfied. Now I can picture his face, his punchable face.
Yes, I'll be honest with you, Scraby. I don't root for politicians very often. I really don't. But I'd like to see the West Virginia governor come out on top somehow on this. I don't know what he's going to do, but
I don't think there's anything he can do.
Well, maybe he can uncover the fact that it was not on the up and up. And then he could sue for damages, and the North Carolina AD would have to pay twice of his $1 million bonus to the state of West Virginia for reparations.
I'm all for it.
I would. You know what? If it came into my courtroom, that would be my ruling.
And I also love it, and I can't get this out of my head, but the whole argument that, hey, I leave the room. Who cares?
Yeah.
Like, is that supposed to make me feel like everything's all good now? You left the room. Okay. Did you put your that really bothers me.
I'm sure on your way out the door you put in a good word for West Virginia.
Yeah, I'm sure. That West Virginia team, they're really good.
Yeah, before I leave the room, please consider West Virginia over my North Carolina team.
But really pick North Carolina. Okay, I'm out of the room. I'm out of the room. Everybody go ahead. Do your
Wait,
business.
excuse me, sir. Did you take a glass with you so you can listen up against the wall?
And he's got like a can with a string under the door so he can hear it.
He's totally into it.
All right, we're going to get some traffic, and then we have the Big Five.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by the Central Valley Reptile Expo. Crash on the coastline, guys. Southbound 5. This is right before Harbor Drive. Several vehicles got into it. It looks like you have got middle lanes blocked. Another crash in the North County. This one is actually on northbound side of the 15, right before Rancho Bernardo Road. Got a couple vehicles involved, kind of over the right shoulder of that HOV lane. Southbound side of the 805, stalled vehicle in the center divide right before La Jolla Village Drive. Then a crash up ahead right before Governor. This one is blocking the fast lane. Coming out of the South Bay, northbound side of the 805 at 8th Street, off-ramp, got a collision. Don't miss the Reptile Expo, March 29th and 30th at the Del Mar Fairgrounds. Shop snakes, lizards, frogs, turtles, and spiders from top local breeders. Enjoy a live animal show. Meet an alligator and a sloth. Get tickets at CentralValleyReptileExpo.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's that time of the show when we check on the latest in sports. Only the most important topics and questions are brought to light.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
These news stories will astound and amaze you. The one, the only.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
The Big Five starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, let's get right into it. We have no time to wait.
Number 5.
And someone that we talked about in the offseason a lot about joining the what?
I'm just laughing at something, but I don't want to. I'll get to it in the next segment.
All right.
It's funny to me.
Okay.
So,
Alex Verdugo is someone that we talked about in the offseason. He was, up until a couple days ago, he was still on the market, and he has been signed by the Atlanta Braves for $1.5 million for one season.
Interesting.
He's going to start with AAA Gwinnett, and he's going to go from there. Now, he's coming off of a season where he went to the World Series with the Yankees. I don't necessarily
think he made the final out of the World Series, if I'm not mistaken.
He might have. Yeah, that's why teams don't want him. He's the final out guy.
He ended the season.
Yeah.
Come on.
We don't want that guy. He ended the season. No, what is this? Okay, here's the question, Chris. What does this tell you about the Padres?
Nothing. Why, you think they should have signed him for $1 million or $1.5 million and put him in the minor leagues?
Here's what it tells me about the Padres. It tells me that they're very happy with the group that they have, because Alex Verdugo is 28 years old. He's not like 35, 36. I still think he's got something there. Now, is he the greatest player in the world? No. But it tells me that the Padres aren't looking elsewhere right now. They feel like they have a lot of options in-house.
I don't know that they can bring anybody else in. We just talked about it in the last half hour. I mean, they've got all these guys for 4 spots or 3 spots. They're going to have to figure it out. Now, I know that as of last Monday, Scraby, or last Friday, you were all about, no Jason Hayward. But now that you and Jason Hayward are best friends, I think you're kind of rooting more for Jason Hayward, and you're actually happy he's here.
Here's the deal with that, Chris, because you are well within your right to bring that up. Yeah. I actually have just accepted it because I know it's going to happen. It doesn't hurt that he's a great guy, though. It doesn't hurt. If he was like a mean guy and he was mean mugging us all the time, then it wouldn't hurt as bad. But, I'm hoping for Jason Hayward to do well. I'm not quite sure what we're going to get, is what I'm saying.
If nothing else, if Jason Hayward is a complete flameout, we can at least say that he answered a question 3 on Chris versus the Fan.
We should have qualified him for. Oh, you did offer him Atlantis, and he kept walking.
He kept walking. I offered him the Atlantis.
You did.
Qualification.
All right.
Number 4.
On the Dan Lebitard show recently, he made a really interesting point about the future of live sports. He said, quote, "I will keep saying to you guys that the future of sports doesn't require fans to be in attendance. And it doesn't even require fans to be watching on television. It's just all programming, and the television streamers need the programming. Sports is one of the few places where people tune in at the appointed time. There's so few of those right now, end quote. I'm up first. Where do you think ticket sales rank in a sports organization's efforts? Now, the reason they brought this up was because of the Unrivaled League. They had 850 people in the audience. And so they were saying, can this be sustainable if they only have 850 fans? Dan Le Batard said, yeah, because the TV networks will pay you the money to make it sustainable. I think ticket sales rank in a sports, it all has to do with the sport. Baseball, I've read that a lot of their money comes from ticket sales, especially with the TV situation in baseball right now not being great, not paying a lot of money to some teams. So I think for baseball, it's very important. For other sports, it's probably not as important to them to get all of their seats filled. Chris, what do you think?
I don't know how to answer it from the organization's point of view, but I can say that it is going to be a tremendous change, because every organization that I've ever worked for, it all revolves around ticket sales. That's it. That's all they care about. So it's going to be interesting to see if teams go in a different direction to try and make more money with, revenue coming from other places. But here's the real question. Is the consumer still going to want to buy tickets? Because now you can watch the game on your phone, right? And yep. I don't mean the video. I mean just getting score updates, and then a bet and a gambling site that has you wager on something while the game is going on. You don't even have to watch it. They'll tell you whether you won or lost, and then you can gamble again.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping that it's because look at the movie industry, major motion pictures. Attendance at theaters is so far down from where it used to be.
It's true.
There's so many other places to watch movies, but there's still enough people that want the experience of seeing a movie in a theater. And I think that we'll always want that experience of seeing sporting events live. So I think we're okay.
Yeah, I mean, growing up, like I wanted to go to the games, and I still want to go to the games, because when you go to the games, it really tells you how good these guys are at their sports when you're watching it and you're watching professionals up close and personal. It was interesting, though, because it does make a little bit of sense that sometimes ticket sales might not be their number one revenue stream. Yeah, revenue stream. Anyway, let's move on fast before I correct myself.
Number 3.
Now, Bronny James did a rare sit-down interview with The Athletic, and he addressed all of the criticism that has come his way since being drafted by the Lakers. He said in The Athletic, quote, "My first thought about everything is I always try to just let it go through one ear and out the other, put my head down and come to work and be positive every day. But sometimes it fuels me a little bit. I see everything that people are saying, and people think like I'm a bleeping robot, like I don't have any feelings or emotions, but I just take that and use it as fuel, not fool, for me to go out, wake up every day, and get to the gym early, blah, 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 blah." Okay. So,
blah, 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 blah.
My question to you, Chris, will Bronny ever be his own man?
I don't think he can.
It's hard.
I think he's so overshadowed by LeBron James, Dad LeBron. I don't think LeBron or Bronny is ever going to be anything but. I mean, here's what I'm saying. He's going to have to be like 3 times or 5 times better at basketball than he is now.
Or even match him, really.
Right. Well, I don't think he has to match LeBron. But he's
you're saying right now. I thought you meant his dad. Okay, I get what you're saying. No,
I'm saying that Bronny has to become 5 times better than he is right now.
Yes, okay.
In order to start cutting his own path. And maybe it's unfair, but you know what? Maybe it's also unfair that you got a chance in the NBA when other people never would have. So it's hard for me to feel too sorry for him. He's got an opportunity that a lot of people would die for. And I just don't know if he's going to have enough skill to make it work. But he can get better. But he's going to have to get a lot better before we start, stop comparing him to his dad, which is impossible for him to live up to.
Yeah, Tony's talked about this to us before, and it was really hard for him to get out of his dad's shadow, but he didn't really want to be out of his dad's shadow because his dad and him had a great relationship. Bronny and LeBron seem like they have a great relationship. I just think that when you have a dad who is going to go down as probably the best player in NBA history, it's going to be really hard for anyone to never mention your name and not connect it to your dad.
Well, I think our Anthony.
Yes.
I think he's and he's not here, so maybe I can, say some things, but I just think he's a special guy. Anthony.
I do too.
And he, because of his amazing personality, which I think he got a lot from his dad and his mom raising him, but he lightens up a room by himself. And I'm talking about our Tony.
Yes.
So I think he has carved his own path.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And he also played 8 years in the majors.
That's another point.
He also was not drafted onto his dad's team by his dad.
That's a really good point.
He made it to the majors on his own accord. His dad rooted for him. His dad helped him. His dad coached him. But Tony made it on his own. A lot of people don't think Bronny did. So I think there's that difference.
Yeah, that's a good point you make about Tony, because people ask me whenever I go on these nepotism rants, they say, well, you work with the guy who had, nepotism. And I'm like, no, Tony, in sports, you do not get a starting position or get put on a major league roster because your dad's name is Tony Gwynn. You actually have to be good. You have to be able to help the team.
No, he started with the Brewers. I mean, that's, he got the triple that cost the Padres a playoff. I mean, what else do you want? He did his own thing.
He did. All right. We have 2 more to go. I hate when we carry over the big
we got to
five.
do Chris versus the fans, too. 5 o'clock hour.
All right. You know what? Chris versus the fans next. 833-288-0973. We're kicking off the happy hour with it on 97.3 The Fan.
Born and raised in San
Baton Rouge.
Baton Rouge. I don't know why the French accent really speaks to me. Like,
well, it's a French American city. What do you know?
Like Mark,
it's okay.
Mark Melanson.
Yeah, I know, but that's even not how his name is pronounced.
Mark Melanson.
Yeah, Mark Melanson. That's a different guy entirely.
Chris, real quick, this is a side. We're gonna do Chris vs. the Fans here in a second, but someone recently brought up to me, for some reason they remember this, but the time we had Mark Melanson on for Friar Friday, and he was having trouble talking because he was backing up his truck into a spot. I completely forgot about this.
Wait a minute. Wait, he was backing into the spot?
He was backing into the spot because he has a huge truck. And so we heard the beep and we go, "What are you doing right now?" And he said, "I'm backing into my spot." And I don't know how this person remembered this, but I do remember that now. And we should have called him out for it at the time. We didn't know we had this backwards Parker hatred.
Yes, we didn't. Well, I think Mark Melanson was backward parking before it was kind of a rude thing to do.
Yeah.
But now you and I are very clear on the fact it's a rude thing to do. And everybody out there ought to stop doing it, even though you and I talk about this with people probably more than any other subject on this show.
It's true. It's true.
I mean, if I run into somebody and you, same with you, and they find out, oh, Gwynn and Chris, etc.
Yeah.
I don't get a question about the Padres.
No.
I get a question about how come you don't like me because I like to back in. That's what I get.
And what do you tell them? Because you're a jerk?
Yeah. I just say, no, I think you're I look at you, I go, I don't know you, but I'm pretty sure you're just rude. You don't care about other people's time.
I agree. You know what? The other day, when we were actually in Arizona, I said, "Chris, I am not going to back into this spot for the principle of the thing." And
it was basically inviting you to back in, and you said, "Nope, I will not."
There was a big sign that was neon sign that pointed at the spot and said "backwards park here," and I said,
No, you wouldn't do it." No,
and guess what?
Impressed.
We saved 3 seconds. It was
well,
great.
if there was here's the thing: if there was a line of cars behind us, that would have held them all up.
I've been thinking about your whole thing with the lady and the sunglasses who had him on in a parking garage and couldn't back up.
Yes.
That's the most infuriating thing in the world is when someone is clearly an idiot by wearing sunglasses in a parking garage.
And she held up 6 cars who were waiting for her to back in.
Scraby,
I kid you not. 6 cars.
Insane. All right, I'll stop because I know we're angry.
I know we could just go down the rabbit hole on this for a good hour.
Yeah, we totally could. But we're going to play Chris vs. the Fans. You're going to qualify for 2 tickets to Alanis Morissette at the Coliseum at Caesars Palace on October 24th, a 2-night hotel stay October 23rd through the 25th at Flamingo Hotel and Casino, and a $100 gas card. If you've never heard this before, we usually play at 4 p.m., so this is a new little segment for you, but here's Chris vs. the Fans.
If you had one shot, one opportunity to take down the human almanac himself,
howdy do.
Now is your time.
Listen to me, this guy is dangerous.
Now is your opportunity to win a prize.
Well, I hope you know what you're in for.
Chris versus the Fans starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, the rules. You have to make it through 3 questions. Each question will get more difficult. If you get the question right, you move on. If you get the question wrong and Chris gets it right, you're eliminated. But if Chris gets it wrong, then you move on to the next question or you win. If you're a first-time player, let us know before you get into it, and you'll get that question for free. And Chris versus the Fans is brought to you by Good Guys, 24th McGuire's Del Mar Nationals, April 4th through the 6th. At the Del Mar Fairgrounds. Get details at good-guys.com. That's good-guys.com. I have a lot of NCAA tournament trivia today, Chris, so hopefully you're up to date on some of that stuff.
All right.
Let's get our first contestant. Let's go out to Thomas in San Diego. Hello, Thomas.
Hey, Thomas.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good.
Very good.
Are you ready to play, Thomas?
Yes, sir. I'm a first-time player.
First-time player.
I love it.
Here we go.
So happy. All right, right to question 2.
Number 2. In 2006 and 2007, which college basketball team won the national championship back-to-back years?
I'm not an NCAA fan, but I'm pretty sure this was the era of Duke.
Duke. Stay there. I don't know if Chris remembers.
He does.
Oh.
Sorry about that, Thomas. That was Gator days, Florida Gator time.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Thomas. I hate
Sorry,
when first-time
Thomas.
players get
Yeah, I know. I
eliminated.
feel bad about
bad.
that. And you know what I think happens too? They hang up and they're like, I don't want to ever play again. And you know what, Thomas? If you're still, I'm sure you're there listening. It's the exact opposite. You should definitely play again because we've seen it so many times, Scraby, where I don't get the questions and people advance.
Yes, you
and
can
win.
call back in, Thomas. You have
you can
equal
play
amount
again
of
tomorrow.
shot next time that you do.
That's
you
right.
did this time.
It's just one of those days. But that was that Florida team.
Was that Joakim Noah?
Yeah, he was the best player they had.
And he shot
when
the
you
free
think
throws
about
weird.
his NBA career, Joakim Noah was, a good player, kind of a borderline all-star. But that Florida team, who else was on it? I think was it Al Horford? No.
Al Horford's like 1,000 years old at this point.
I know. It wasn't Al Horford. It was Udonis Haslem. That's
okay.
The veteran. But that wasn't a team full of NBA players, is my point.
True.
And they just dominated for 2 years. So who knows?
All right, let's go to our next contestant. We're going to go to Jake in Lakeside. Hello, Jake.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good.
Hey, good, Jake.
You ready to play?
Hey, real quick, if I can give a little connection to Chris, if you don't mind, if I have time.
Now I got to hear it.
So I recently found out last week during the Mountain West tournament that my buddy's dad is actually dating. Excuse me if I pronounce her name wrong. Is it Kylie or Kelly Lewis, the associate head coach?
Kelly Lewis. I met that guy today. Matt is his name, right?
Yes, sir, Matt. I
met him today.
I was listening to your guys' interview with the head coach. I believe her name's Stacy.
Yeah.
And I found out that day also that we both are alumni to El Capitan High School, which I thought was pretty neat.
Yes, you are. Stacy Terry Hudson is in the El Capitan Hall of Fame.
Wow.
Jake. So there you go. But that is a
Yes,
good
sir.
connection. I met Kelly Lewis's boyfriend today, and his name is Matt. So, and he's on the trip. So,
Oh,
very
Jake,
good.
man, you got all sorts of connections over there.
I
That's
know.
good stuff.
I think you know what, Jake? You just won the game. That's it. It's all
he
over.
just qualifies for Atlantis.
He's got a lot of connections, Scraby. I got to give it to him.
Jake, are you a first-time player?
I am not. I actually called in a
Okay.
few weeks ago.
Okay.
All right.
Very
Thanks
honest
for being
guy.
honest. I appreciate that. Here we
for
go.
sure.
Question number 1. What is the official nickname for the round in the March Madness tournament that features the final 8 teams?
The Elite Eight?
The Elite
Hey,
Eight
there you go,
is
Jake.
correct.
It's a good start. Good start.
All right, question number 2. Which college basketball team holds the record for the most NCAA men's basketball championships?
Oh, I believe it is the Duke Blue Devils.
Going with Duke again.
Stay there, Jake.
Yeah, Duke is a good answer for a lot of college basketball trivia questions. Just not the 2 that you've asked today, Scraby. This is UCLA. They're still on top all time. Sorry, Jake, but good to hear from you. Appreciate you calling. I'll definitely say hi to Matt for you, and stay part of the show and call in again. Maybe next time, buddy.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Jake. All right. Udonis or Al Horford was on those Florida teams, by the way.
Okay, somebody. Thank you for. Yeah, okay. So they did have somebody good then.
I mean, they had 3 NBA players on that team.
Yeah, that's pretty good, I guess.
Yeah, really good, actually. Let's go to our guy Brandon in El Cajon. Hello, Brandon.
Well, Brandon's not in El Cajon right now. Brandon's on the way to Peoria for a Padres game.
Oh, he's on the way to Peoria for the Padres
right.
game. So let's hope you win.
Whereabouts are you, Brandon? Since Scraby and I just made that drive, we can probably picture about where you are.
Oh, well, I got to Scottsdale last night. Right now we're sitting in traffic.
Oh, he's already there. Oh yeah, the Phoenix
Ugh.
traffic. Yeah,
Ugh.
you'll be there a while, Brandon. So
Chris, hang on one second, Brandon. By the way, when you talked about the Baton Rouge traffic, we had someone in the chat come in there and say that they're from Baton Rouge and they live here now. And Baton Rouge, they said they'd much rather sit on the 805 in that parking lot than any sort of Baton Rouge traffic.
Oh, that's funny that somebody. I'm telling you, Scraby, this was miserable traffic. We were not moving at all.
Is it not like wide enough freeway or something?
Now, I think that was the problem. It was like a 2-lane freeway, and there's just too many people.
Wow.
And we also went over a bridge, so there was nowhere to go, and we were stuck. Yeah,
That's brutal.
So Baton Rouge, who knew?
All
Bad
right.
traffic.
All right, Brandon. Let's
right,
hope
go,
you win.
Brandon.
Question number 1. What baseball league did Kyle Hart pitch in last year?
The KBO.
KBO is
All right.
correct. I knew
He's
Brandon would
ready.
know that. I knew it. All right, question number 2. Who is the head coach of UNC basketball?
UNC or USC?
UNC, North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Jesus. I should know better after that game the other night, but I don't know.
You don't know? All right, I'm going to put you down, Brandon. Hopefully Chris hangs on or doesn't know, and you can hang on.
Brandon, I'm sorry, man. Good luck in the traffic. It's brutal in Scottsdale. Hubert Davis is the coach of the Tar Heels. And
Sorry,
he did a hell of
Brandon.
a job
Enjoy
the
your
other
game.
night. I mean, we've talked a lot about how the Aztecs played terrible, but North Carolina was pretty ready for that game. I mean, you got to say, he had them locked in, and they played great. So it was a combination of things that happened.
I
And
tried
North Carolina
to-
was really good.
I
Go ahead,
tried
sir.
to explain on the Scraby show last night why this wasn't like the most embarrassing loss in San Diego sports history. And the
Yeah,
reason
it
to me
wasn't.
it's not is because North Carolina made 80% plus threes in the first half. Teams just don't do that. Like the Aztecs played decent defense for most of the game. Every shot was going in. You can't defend a shot that goes in every single time.
There's no way you can say this is the worst loss in San Diego history. I mean, was anybody at those Chargers-Jets games back in the day?
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
You know, when the Chargers were like,
Okay, let me rephrase it. It's most embarrassing loss in San Diego history.
I don't think it is. I mean,
Okay.
it was a blowout. It was a blowout, and that's not fun. But this Aztec team ended up being about where they should have been this year. To get 21 wins when you have 3 freshmen and 3 sophomores in your playing rotation, your best player misses the whole season. Your second best player misses the last month of the season. You beat the number 1 team in the nation during the season, or one of the top number 1 teams. They had an amazing year. It ended terrible. There's no argument.
Yeah.
But it was not. I can tell you for a fact, Scraby, when the Chargers lost those games to the Jets, and when the Chargers lost to the Patriots and the Marlon McCree fumble, this city was in a deep depression for months. So
As they should have been.
yeah, those are what come to my mind when I think of the worst losses we've ever had to endure.
On the chat, Syracuse was pretty bad. Syracuse was bad.
Syracuse was, you know what? Syracuse was bad because I thought, the Aztecs had a better chance to beat Syracuse maybe than, that North Carolina last night. But the funny thing is both games, they trailed by 24 points at the half.
And one player made every single shot they took.
The Syracuse game, they were down 24, and the other night they were down
I don't
24.
think Buddy Boeheim has ever done anything like that in his
Nothing.
life again.
I don't even know if does he even play anymore? I don't know where he is.
I think he was on like a G League roster, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. All right, we're going tiebreaker, and
Okay.
I'm going to pick something a little bit different. I'm going to pick Dawn Staley and her coaching record as our thing today.
Very good.
Let's go to our contestant for the tiebreaker. Let's go.
Although I'm glad you brought Dawn Staley up, Scraby, because though the Aztec women don't play against her, I thought she was very tone deaf the other day, screaming and moaning and crying about the fact that they didn't get the number 1 overall seed.
Yeah, it's kind of.
I'm like, really?
You're kind of.
like,
yeah, this is not that big of a deal.
Yeah, I mean, you're the number one team in the nation. You've won all these championships. So they seed you number 2 behind a team that beat you. So what are you complaining about? Just go out and play who you're supposed to play.
I agree.
I thought that was poor for Dawn Staley. I think she's better than that.
Yeah, it's almost like a Dave Roberts move, trying to make something up to motivate.
Right, trying to get her team to motivate. Yeah, you're right. Trying to get her team motivated. Say, oh, they don't respect.
They don't
you.
respect us. We're not the number one team.
Yes, we don't respect South Carolina women's basketball. What are you kidding me? They're the,
Meanwhile,
you
Dave
respect
Roberts'
them more
life,
than any team.
Dave Roberts' life flashed before his eyes with that fastball into the dugout. Okay, contestant
Manny Machado zinged that ball right at Dave Roberts's.
I was scared for
neck.
a second.
Yeah,
whatever. We said
I
it
was
at the
scared
same
for a
time.
second.
All right, Carl, you're on the line. Do you know how to play the tiebreaker?
Hey, I am familiar.
Okay, so
All
I'm
right.
going to ask Chris a question in a number answer. You'll get it in a
Okay.
second. I always explain this terribly. But Carl's going to guess whether the actual answer is higher or lower than what Chris said. So, Chris, there have been 831 games in her head coaching career.
Right.
How many losses does she have?
Yeah. She had quite a few at the beginning. So, and not, but I'm going to say she had some 15, 17 lost seasons at the beginning. How many years has she been in there? Scrap?
It doesn't easily give it to me, but it looks like she started coaching in 2000 and hasn't missed a year since. So 25 years.
No, 2000.
Yeah, 2000. She started with Temple.
Oh, okay. So I have to include her career at Temple.
Yeah, everything.
Oh.
So 25 years of coaching.
All right, then she's lost 200 games.
200 games. Carl's the actual answer higher or lower than 200?
Let's go lower. She's got a pretty good record.
Lower.
Says lower.
You played the game correctly, sir, because that is correct.
All right, Carl.
Stay
way to
right
go.
there, Carl. I'm going to get your information in the break. She has in her career 189 losses.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was fairly close.
You were very close. Very close.
Yeah. But she had most of those with Temple. So
the losses, well, she actually, if the last 4 years she had a pretty good team. She lost less than 10 games 3 years at Temple. And then obviously with South Carolina, here's the loss since 2019, Chris. Here are the losses. 1, 5, 2, 1, 0, 3. Basically no losses.
Yes, but nobody respects us.
Nobody respects us. We're gonna go to the committee.
We can't get any respect around here. We're the number 2 overall seed. Are you kidding me? You put us behind a team that beat us? How dare you?
Yeah. Don't you know that this is South Carolina basketball? We get everything number 1.
Yeah. Come on, Don. That's a little silly.
All right. We're way past our break.
Yes, we are. So take it, Scrape.
All right. When we get back, we're going to check out we're going to get you up to date on the March Madness tournament. Also, we have Michael Flicks to talk about his high school showcase at the end of the hour. Stick with us here on Gwynn and Chris, 97.3 The Fan. Thank you for listening to 97.3 The Fan. Be back shortly. I would be back shortly if the thing will click. See, I'm clicking. I have no idea what's happening. It's not playing any commercials right now. Well, this is just great, everybody. Let me see if I could try to start another one. All right. Well, this is awesome. On the air right now with no help, and there are no commercials to be played. Actually, you know what I'm going to do, everybody? You're getting a real live thing right here. This is real live Matt Scraby. I'm going to have to restart Wide Orbit real quick. So goodbye, Wide Orbit. It's not even closing. I'm going to text Adam, and I'm going to say, Adam, I tried to go to break and the commercials did not play. And the program won't shut down. Oh, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna have to do some Control-Alt-Delete over here. Control-Alt-Delete. Okay, I got it. Task Manager. It's not coming up. There it goes. Task Manager came up, everybody. I have no idea. I'm way too generous with my stroke giving. Never mind.
Are you really?
Never mind.
Wait.
I did not
Let's
mean
explore
for that to happen. I did not.
That sounds like a promo to me.
Skraby's giving out strokes. I can't wait to hear that one. I'm gonna laugh for a while on that one.
Nate says, Scravy, maybe you should date her.
You might be a generous stroke giver, but I don't think she really wants to leave her boyfriend for that.
All right, that was good. That was good. In full disclosure, I'm reading this. Tony can't gather himself right now. That was a good one, Chris. That was a really good one. So I saw this at 7-Eleven, and I had to get it. It's called the One Chip Challenge. It was sitting there in the aisle, and I thought, why not? Because I am into spicy stuff. But this thing looks pretty hot. I'm not going to lie. It says a Reaper pepper and a Scorpion pepper. It's also in the shape of a coffin, which doesn't make me very happy about that. It doesn't make me feel good. Oh, extreme heat, it says. I'm going to try a little bit first, just so I don't die, I guess. That's the thing I'm saying. This looks... I don't even know if I should be eating this. It looks like it has mold or something, but let's see how hot it is. Let's go. There's a little bit of spice there. It's going. Oh, man. This is hot. Not that bad, though. I still have this side to go. It is getting hot. I'm not gonna lie. My mouth is like getting crazy. Now it's kicking in. I'm not sure if I'm gonna finish this. Honestly, it's getting serious. I gotta go with the milk. My mouth is dying right now. Yeah, this is not fun, guys. Never gonna do that again because my mouth is on fire. Thank you for listening to 97.3 The Fan. Be back shortly. I would be back shortly if the thing will click. See, I'm clicking. I'm clicking. I have no idea what's happening. It's not playing any commercials right now. Well, this is just great, everybody. Let me see if I could try to start another one. All right. Well, this is awesome. On the air right now with no help. And there are no commercials to be played. Actually, you know what I'm going to do, everybody? You're getting a real live thing right here. This is real live Matt Scraby. I'm going to have to restart Wide Orbit real quick. So, goodbye, Wide Orbit. It's not even closing. I'm going to text Adam, and I'm going to say, Adam, I tried to go to break, and the commercials did not play, and the program won't shut down. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have to do some Control-Alt-Delete over here. Control-Alt-Delete. Okay, I got it. Task Manager. It's not coming up. There it goes. Task Manager came up, everybody. I have no idea. I'm way too generous with my stroke giving. Never mind.
Are you really?
Never mind.
Wait.
I did not mean for that to happen. I did not.
That sounds like a promo to me.
Skraby's giving out strokes. I can't wait to hear that one. I'm gonna laugh for a while on that one.
Nate says, Scravy, maybe you should date her.
You might be a generous stroke giver, but I don't think she really wants to leave her boyfriend for that.
All right, that was good. That was good. In full disclosure, I'm reading this. Tony can't gather himself right now. That was a good one, Chris. That was a really good one. So I saw this at 7-Eleven, and I had to get it. It's called the One Chip Challenge. It was sitting there in the aisle, and I thought, why not? Because I am into spicy stuff. But this thing looks pretty hot. I'm not going to lie. It says a Reaper pepper and a Scorpion pepper. It's also in the shape of a coffin, which doesn't make me very happy about that. It doesn't make me feel good. Oh, extreme heat, it says. I'm going to try a little bit first, just so I don't die, I guess. That's the thing I'm saying. This looks... I don't even know if I should be eating this. It looks like it has mold or something, but let's see how hot it is. Let's go. There's a little bit of spice there. It's going. Oh, man. This is hot. Not that bad, though. I still have this side to go.
It is getting hot. I'm not gonna lie. My mouth is like getting crazy. Now it's kicking in. I'm not sure if I'm gonna finish this. Honestly, it's getting serious. I gotta go with the milk. My mouth is dying right now. Yeah, this is not fun, guys.
All right, a little bit of a shorter segment here because we got our Chris vs. the Fans winner in the last segment, and then Michael Flicks is due to come in studio here at 5:40 and preview his showcase. But Chris, you got a funny story for us?
I do. First, I want to give a couple of scores. People driving home, trying to keep track of their brackets. The Sauce has opened up a 7-point lead over Kansas. Arkansas 51, Kansas 44. Just a couple minutes into the second half. That's John Calipari against Bill Self. So good ball game. The Sauce leads by 7. Tennessee's leading Wofford 61-48. That is in the second half. Tennessee's led comfortably in that game in a 2:15 matchup. Texas A&M at halftime leads Yale 40-29. And early, a bit of a surprising score, just, early in the game. 4 minutes left in the first half. Drake leads Missouri 22-16. Earlier today, the only real upset of the day was McNeese defeating Clemson. They won by 2, but they were winning by like 22.
Yeah.
And then Clemson started making like every 3-pointer they could put up, but they just ran out of time, Clemson. They never really had a chance to, shoot the, go for the win or the tie. They just kept making baskets, but they ran out of time. So McNeese upsets Clemson in a 12-5 matchup. But here's my story, and I'm sticking to it, Scraby.
All right.
The Norfolk State men's coach.
That was the number one on the Big Five. I'm glad you're bringing this up.
Oh, okay, good. The Norfolk State men's coach, Robert Jones, is, can I say pissed off?
Yeah, you can.
I don't know if we're allowed to say that.
No, you can. You can.
He is upset. And the reason he's upset is because they're playing Florida tomorrow in a 16 versus 1 matchup. And Robert Jones saw the betting spread on the game. And Florida is favored by 27.5 points. Now, Florida is the SEC champions. They're almost everybody's pick to go to the Final Four and win it all.
Yep.
Norfolk State is
Norfolk State.
Norfolk State. But Robert Jones, he is livid about this.
Yeah.
And he goes, and I'll be honest with you, there's part of me that agrees with him. That's why I laughed earlier when I read this. Because I know Florida's really, really good. And I know they run a great program. They got great players. But are we that bad that the point spread is like that?
Yeah.
That's what cracked me up. Like, are we so bad that you have to make the point spread that big? And then he went on to say, I'm a little angry. I'm a little more focused. And I think we'll play better when I'm angry. So, they're going to use it as motivation.
Another fake motivation usage.
Yeah, it is. It kind of is. I mean, if you can't get up to play Florida in the first place, there's probably something wrong with you.
And by the way, Florida is a better basketball team than you, Norfolk State.
They are. Well, here's the funny thing. If you read the rest of the story, Norfolk State, I think they were a 14 seed. This time they're a 16 seed. But they were a 14 seed several years ago in 2012. And they beat Missouri that year, who was the 3. So Norfolk State got a win. But their second game that year was against Florida. And they lost by 34.
Maybe check the history, sir, before you get angry.
Before you spout off. If I was a betting man, which I would never on these games, because who knows?
Yeah.
But I would be more inclined to bet on Florida here. Wouldn't you?
Yeah.
27.5 points is not that many in a 116 matchup.
No. I mean, Houston beat their team by 38. Auburn struggled a little bit with Alabama State, but they pulled away for, I think, a 20-point win.
Yeah, 20 is almost automatic.
Yeah.
And when you consider that there's been 156 matchups in the history of the tournament, 1 versus 16, and the 16 has won only 2.
Yeah.
It's pretty rare. So, look, I appreciate Robert Jones because he's sticking up for the little guy. And, I like that. And I loved his line about saying, are we that bad? That the point spread has to be 27.5 points.
Everybody's trying to find the motivation, Chris, somehow, some way.
He is. I thought that was funny.
That is funny. That is really funny. I want to do this before we go to break. Congratulations to today's biggest fan, Juan Gallardo of San Diego. Give us a call back within the next 10 minutes at 833-288-0973, and you'll qualify for our grand prize, 20 tickets for you and your friends for a night in our Odyssey Suite at a Padres game later this season. Remember to register your name at 973thefansd.com/biggest fan. Do you still have your funny story, or was that the funny story?
Oh, that was my funny story.
That was the funny story. Yeah, I had that in the Big Five because at first when I read it, I was like, what is so surprising about your team being a 28.5 point underdog? It's just
it's pretty normal. It's pretty normal in a 1 versus 16 that the spread is like that. But, look, maybe Robert's team will go out there tomorrow and, maybe they're a lot better than everybody thinks they are. So, we'll see.
Yeah, I thought
he'll have his chance. That's the nice thing about the NCAA tournament. You can talk about it, but you actually get a chance. You get the chance to go out and do it. So take your best shot.
Hit me with your best shot.
Oh, now you're going Pat Benatar on.
Oh, yeah. There was my grandpa, we bought one of those fish on the wall. You know what I'm saying? When you hit the button and the fish starts singing on the wall? I can't remember what it's called.
I do know that, yes.
We got one that kept singing "Hit me with your best shot" for some reason.
The singing fish on the wall.
Love it. All right, when we get back, we're supposed to have Michael Flicks to come in here and preview some high school basketball stuff. Also, we will give you some more information on the March Madness tournament, and we will tell you there is one player, and I'm going to withhold that name until the other side, that has been placed on the Padres 40-man roster, and it's an early indication he's going to make the team. We'll tell you who that is on the other side on 97.3 The Fan.
Coming up on Friday.
Chris, hello. Yeah, we're here in Cooperstown for 97.3 The Fan. So excited, the induction weekend for the great Trevor Hoffman. What a class he's going in with, too. Let's take a look. Of course, Alan Trammell from Kearney High School in San Diego. And then, of course, the Detroit Tigers' great shortstop, Jack Morris, in a Tiger uniform there, but I always remember him pitching that 1-0 shutout in Game 7 of the 1991 World Series for the Minnesota Twins. Maybe the greatest postseason pitching performance of all time. Chipper Jones, Padre fans remember him. Every fan of a National League team remembers him because he would come in and do damage to that team. Only the second #1 overall pick in the Major League Draft, Chipper Jones, to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. The other is Ken Griffey Jr. Vladimir Guerrero, never met a pitch he couldn't swing at, and powerhouse hitter for the Expos, and then, of course, the Angels at the end of his career. Jim Thome, over 600 home runs, mostly with the Cleveland Indians. And then, the guy down here on the end who used to get all these guys out all the time, Trevor Hoffman, the greatest Padre reliever of them all. two of the greatest outfielders in the history of baseball. Of course, you've got Babe Ruth right here, Ted Williams right over there. I was wondering who the third outfielder would be, and then, of course, it hit me. Tony would be upset if I didn't say that the third outfielder, who will someday probably be displayed right here between these two guys, is obviously Mike Trout. And this is the San Diego Padres locker room here in Cooperstown. Obviously, a couple of jerseys there and hats, gloves, all-star stuff. I think the most interesting thing in this entire display, though, especially this weekend, is a picture in the top corner of Angus Young. He's the guitarist for AC/DC, wearing a Trevor Hoffman uniform, obviously playing Hell's Bells. I know that Trevor went to many AC/DC concerts and was honored by sitting in the front row to watch AC/DC play Hell's Bells in his honor. But there's a picture of Angus Young playing Hell's Bells for Trevor Hoffman, wearing the 51 jersey right there. Chris, hello. Yeah, we're here in Cooperstown for 97.3 The Fan. So excited, the induction weekend for the great Trevor Hoffman. What a class he's going in with, too. Let's take a look. Of course, Alan Trammell from Kearney High School in San Diego. And then, of course, the Detroit Tigers' great shortstop, Jack Morris, in a Tiger uniform there, but I always remember him pitching that 1-0 shutout in Game 7 of the 1991 World Series for the Minnesota Twins. Maybe the greatest postseason pitching performance of all time. Chipper Jones, Padre fans remember him. Every fan of a National League team remembers him because he would come in and do damage to that team. Only the second #1 overall pick in the Major League Draft, Chipper Jones, to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. The other is Ken Griffey Jr. Vladimir Guerrero. Never met a pitch he couldn't swing at. And powerhouse hitter for the Expos and then, of course, the Angels at the end of his career. Jim Thome, over 600 home runs, mostly with the Cleveland Indians. And then, oh, yeah, the guy down here on the end who used to get all these guys out all the time, Trevor Hoffman, the greatest Padre reliever of the moment.
Final segment here on Gwynn and Chris. 97.3 The Fan. Chris in Baton Rouge. I'll keep saying it forever and ever and ever. Tony Gwynn Jr. going to be calling the game tonight between the Padres and the Rangers. They're going to be taking over at 6:30. I am going to do a half hour of the Scraby Show. And my daily gripe today is I believe, another great one, Chris. Yesterday, my daily gripe was anticipation of a game and then your team just completely falling apart 5 minutes in, which is kind of what happened to the Aztecs. So that was my daily gripe.
I don't know that that's I don't know that goes under the gripe.
Oh, it's a gripe
category. No, it's just a disappointment. It's a huge disappointment.
But my gripe is here's my gripe. My gripe is that I spent all day talking about it, obviously.
Oh, and then the team
goes out
and couldn't do anything?
Yeah, it's the anticipation for the game, and then the game's over before it really
So who are you
starts.
griping to? The team that disappoints you?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm griping to the Aztecs. Before the break, we have Michael Flicks here. We're going to get to traffic in a second, but before the break, I said one Padre has been added to the 40-man roster. Not yet the opening day roster, but Gavin Sheets has been selected. His contract has been selected, and he's on the 40-man roster. He is Joe Musgrove goes on the 60-day IL to make room for him. So what this means is that it makes it a lot easier for the Padres to pick him for the opening day roster if they need to. Tony said earlier that Mike Schilt didn't really have any indication on whether or not he was going to make the opening day roster, but there you go. It's a good indication that they like what they're seeing from Gavin Sheets.
I got to believe that they're going to put him on the 40-man roster just to release him next week.
Yes, I think so too, Chris. They're just going to make him call his family and everything and then cut bait.
Yeah. I will say this. I think Gavin Sheets was 50-50 until that good interview he did with Tony and I the other day.
You know what, Chris? I heard that. I heard Mike Schilt say, I heard him on Gwynn and Chris, and
He was good.
And
He was
he's on the
good.
team. He's on the team.
We're putting him on. We like what he had to say.
Okay, let's go to traffic. And then on the other side, we're going to talk some high school basketball with Michael Flicks.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Crash still blocking lanes on the coastline, south on 5 before Harbor Drive. Seeing some slowing south 805 off the split down to this earlier accident near Governor. And H Street on-ramp to northbound 805 at collision. Northbound side of the 15, just past the 56, stalled vehicle being moved over to the right shoulder. Further up, right before Rancho Bernardo Road, accident being cleared out of the HOV lane. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right. In studio with Michael Flicks. What? What are you laughing about now?
Just the way you put a punctuation on that traffic report with, all right.
I am doing about 17 different things back here.
Did Kelly Danick put you to sleep? What happened there?
No, I was just making sure I had Michael Flicks on the camera. I was making sure everything was good, but Michael Flicks is here. Hello, Michael.
Hello, how are you?
Michael.
Hello,
Good.
what's up?
Good. I'm happy to see you again. I thought the last time we were going to see each other was a couple weeks ago, but he's back.
Glad to be back.
And you got something you're doing this weekend.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The 3rd annual Flicks First Full-Time Showcase is going to be this Saturday at Logan Memorial High School at 5 o'clock. It's going to be a really, really fun event. We got vendors coming, selling clothes. Of course, the snack bar is going to be amazing with all the food you can have. We got some of the best basketball players in San Diego County that's going to be on the floor. Going to have the top shooters in the county having a 3-point shootout just before the game. Dance performances, cheerleader performances, rowdy crowd.
Goodness.
It's going to be a fun night. It's going to be a really, really fun night. Going to be a really fun night.
Woo! You got it all. Who put this all together, Michael Flicks?
Myself, my guy Full Time Hoops, and my good friend Heather, and my friend Zoe. Actually, it's been a collective of 4 of us.
Wow! I mean,
Yeah.
Cool. Michael, my wife is a event planner.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm hearing you talk about this, and I feel like my wife is talking about one of her events coming up.
Uh-huh.
And I expect you to put me to work somehow because that's what she does to me. So
You know what? It's very interesting you say that. I was going to wait to the end to say it, but we do need one more referee if you're available on Saturday. And I mean that. That's no gas. If you're available, we need one more ref for Saturday.
Putting you on
Saturday.
the spot. I love it.
Well, Scraby, you
Oh,
can
he's
answer the
not-
question
yeah, he's
for
not-
me. I'm
he's
not
not
in
in
the
town. He's not
I'm
in
not
town.
in the
Okay, okay.
state. Otherwise, I would love to come and help you guys. And I mean that. And if you ever have, when you do another one, keep me in mind because
I
I'd be
will.
more than happy to come down and I would donate my time to help with that event.
Oh,
So-
you're just an incredible human, Chris, for donating
pretty
your
good.
time.
I think
I'm
so
pretty
too.
good.
Okay,
I think so,
everybody's
too.
turning this joke on me. All right, the
No,
three-point
I'm
shootout.
just saying, I appreciate you asking, but Scraby knows there's this. That's not going to happen this time because I'm too far away.
He's in Baton Rouge.
Good luck with that event. That's a great idea.
Thank you
How
so
did the
much.
basketball season end up, Michael Flicks? I didn't get the final wrap up on everything. How did we do?
We had a couple teams make it to the second round. Two teams in Division 2, one team in Division 3 all made it to the second round, but that was as far as any San Diego team made it this year. Good games though. Nobody really
it was
got
not a banner year then.
Nobody got not in that regard. Nobody, but we did hold our own. We did do well. Nobody really got blown out or smacked or anything. We definitely held our own for sure. And like I said, we had a team go up and play against Trevor Ariza's son, who just went over 3,000 points. I think he's like 4th all time in California high school basketball for scoring. So we had a team go up there and play against him, and they did pretty well. You know what I mean? They did pretty well. And he's like an NBA prospect and all of that. So they played against him and they did well. So proud of that team for sure.
Michael, the 3-point shootout.
Yes.
Is it a format like we see in the NBA All-Star game? How do you qualify for that? Do you already have people selected?
You qualify by just being a good shooter, showcasing your shooting prowess and having a good percentage all throughout the year, knocking down a lot of shots, having game high and career highs from the 3-point line. That's pretty much how we select. So, and it's not ideal. More than likely next year to be traditionally while we have carts and each guy is taking 5 shots from the cart. Right? How we do it now though, we have one guy on each basket and we put 1 minute on the clock. And we have 3 balls, a few rebounders, and they put up as many shots as they can in 1 minute. And the winner advances until there's 2 guys left, and then those guys shoot it out to see who's the winner.
I've always loved the 3-point shootout for some reason, more than the dunk competition, because dunk competition's kind of gone downhill.
Oh, it's gotten super whack. Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon brought it back a few years ago when they were going crazy. But other than that, it's been a dud for years.
Yeah, Mac McClung.
I don't know.
No offense to Mac McClung.
Jumped over an entire car.
Yeah, I mean, he's exciting, but the contest as a whole, like he always puts on a show.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But it used to be when it was Vince Carter and Jason Richardson and Tracy McGrady and all these guys going at it, when every dunk, every round was exciting and you jumped out of your seat. Now, when you see Mac McClung, it's a great dunk and you're like, oh, that was amazing. But everybody else is like, oh, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. That's why people don't like it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
He's not even in the NBA.
Yeah.
Mac McClung.
Yeah, for the last 3
crazy.
well, the first year he was still in the G League, so everybody made a big fuss. So last year and the year before, whatever G League team he was on, I want to say like a week before the All-Star weekend, they pulled him up to the actual NBA team so that he would technically be an NBA player in the dunk contest.
Got you.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right.
Okay.
He's a G League player. I mean, no diss to the G League, but you know.
He is a G League
There
player.
is no, let me tell you something. There is no diss to the G League
at all.
These guys are unbelievable players.
Mhm.
I mean, let's be honest. They're just not NBA players, which is a whole nother level.
And a lot of that sometimes
now
could be politics. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's true. You're right. Where's your event again on Saturday night?
It's at Logan Memorial High School in Southeast San Diego.
Okay, Logan Memorial High School.
Yes.
Okay.
Is there a website or
All right,
anything
man.
people can visit?
Yeah,
Yes.
tell people where they can go get.
Yeah, you can grab tickets. The link is on my Instagram. My Instagram is MichaelFlix, MichaelFlix. There's a link in my bio where you can tap, and it says the 3rd annual Flix vs. Full-Time Showcase. Tap the link; it'll take you right to the Eventbrite site, and you can grab your tickets there. Or if you have an Eventbrite account already, if you're already on Eventbrite, just type in, hit the search, and just type in a Flix vs. Full-Time Showcase, and it should pop up. Tickets are $10. Courtside seats are $20.
Oh, that's not too bad at all.
Yeah.
You said when we were riding up the elevator, you said that you already have some players that you know are going to be there. So who's going to be there?
Yes, we have. So far, we have a few guys that are tentative and a few guys that I have to replace because they're going to be out of town and have prior engagements. But so far, we have JJ Sanchez from Montgomery, Open Division champ. He's going to be the captain of the Flix team. And then we have Isaiah Marte, probably the best shooter in San Diego basketball. He's going to be the captain of the full-time team. And we picked our teams on Instagram Live last week. It was really exciting. But so we have Jason Hughes from Granite Hills. This is the Flix team. This is my team. Jason Hughes from Granite Hills, Jerry Stokes from Bonita Vista. Of course, JJ Sanchez, his twin brother Alex Sanchez from Montgomery. Tim Dorn, 6'7" phenom from Mira Mesa. Chris Carrillo from La Jolla Country Day. Tavares Green, who had a really, really, really good breakout year. He's from Torrey Pines. Pat O'Brien, the captain of Cathedral. Loxley Johnson from Coronado. And then on the full-time team, and again, we still have a few more guys that I'm not going to be able to mention just because they haven't confirmed yet. But on the full-time team, we have, again, their captain is Isaiah Marte from San Diego High. They've got Cody Shin, who dropped 35 and then 36 on Carlsbad to give them their only losses all year. Devin McGee from El Camino, Pablo from Mission Bay, Jordan Garner, and Jordan Garner from Carlsbad. Again, that team seems much smaller, but again, there's a few more guys that I'm waiting to hear back from them tonight. But even if they're not there, we've
Michael
got.
Flick.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say you should win that game. You got 14 players. The other team only has 3. I expect you winning this game.
It's going to be evenly matched. Both teams will have, if nothing else, both teams will have 12 guys, and it's going to be an exciting game. Well, on the one hand, it is I don't want to say, the word is disappointing. On the one hand, it is a little bit disappointing that the guys that were selected by the captain, some of them can't make it. But on the other hand, we have so much talent here in San Diego, and there's such a huge pool of guys that do want to play. So either way, there's going to be a great game happening for sure. Also to that point, only 30 guys get selected. Well, only 28 guys get selected because there's a captain for each team.
Yeah.
And so this way, certain guys get to hear their name and they know that they would be selected, but then when they drop out, it gives an opportunity for more guys and that we can include more guys. And also to that point, with the 3-point shootout, Isaiah Marte, he's going to play in the game. Devin McGee, he's going to play in the game. But I tried to do my best to select sharpshooters or good shooters that didn't get selected for the game. That way, for the event as a whole, we can include as many players as possible.
What, Michael? What are kids shooting from 3 now? Like, are they getting 40% in high school yet?
Yeah, some guys are up there.
Like, generally.
Yeah, some guys are up there. I forget his last name. Trenton.
It amazes me. It amazes me that the 40% mark is, now the thing for 3-point shooting in all leagues, and that's just, you're not supposed to make 4 out of 10 from out there. But I mean, these kids, college, pro, and high school, they throw these in. Regularly. It's a testament how much practice and shooting they do in the off season. I mean, we see the games, we don't see all the work all these players put in.
Absolutely. And then you got some high school guys that are already shooting from college and NBA range, like on a consistent basis, not like on a buzzer beater to beat the shot clock. They're consistently like.
I got a question about that.
Yeah.
Does it drive coaches crazy when these guys are taking NBA threes when they could be taking high school threes? I guess if you make it, it doesn't matter. But
yeah, I mean, like Jake Hall from Carlsbad. I mean, he's an extreme example. He just went over 3,000 points. But Jake Hall from Carlsbad, he shoots from out there pretty consistently, and his coach never really has an issue with it.
Well, I guess if you can make it consistently,
exactly. Like you think about like Steph Curry when he first started shooting from out there. There's that really famous clip of him doing that move, and Steph Curry, his coach Steve Curry, put his hands up like, "What are you doing?" And then it goes in, and he just puts his hands on his head. Like,
I do remember.
I guess that's what he can do, and that's pretty much where the game is now. Like that, everybody shoots a lot of threes, and some guys can shoot it from darn near half court and consistently make it.
Logo 3, Scraby. Logo.
Yes,
I'll be able to shoot from the logo now.
Yes.
And if the court doesn't have a logo, then you shoot from where the logo would be.
Oh yeah, volleyball line. That's the
volleyball line.
That's
logo.
the thing in high school. The volleyball line. The volleyball line. Yeah.
Man.
Well, thank you, Michael Flicks, for coming in.
Good.
Oh, my pleasure.
One more time, please tell us where people can go for more information.
For more information, you can hit the link in my bio or my Instagram. It's michael.flix. There's a link there. You tap that, it'll take you right to everything I got going on, but more specifically to the showcase. And if you're not on Instagram, just hit Eventbrite or just Google it, 3rd annual Flixverse full-time showcase, and it'll take you to the Eventbrite. You can grab your tickets. General admission's $20. Courtside seats are $20.
All right. Thank you so much.
General
Michael.
admission is 10. General admission is 10.
Did I say it wrong? I'm sorry.
Courtside is 20.
Okay.
No, that's okay. And if you want to ref the game, it costs 40 because then you're even closer to the players.
Chris, you lost out on your chance to ref.
I know I lost out, but next year I hope I'm in, Michael.
I was about to say maybe next year. I'll keep you in mind for sure.
All right.
All right, that's it for Gwynn and Chris. Tomorrow we're going to be at Dave and Buster's. Please make sure you come on down there and you say hi to us 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Chris will be with me, and it'll be fun. Come on down, see us. Lots of prizes, rallies, and raffles, and all that stuff. Scrappy show up next, and then we got Padres baseball on the station. Stick around.